online, cipher, cipher, online, cipher, cipher, online, cipher, cipher, online, cipher. Online, online, online.
house. Let's go, Juanito. Are you ready, Juanito?
We're in the house.
Are you ready, bro?
Juanito's ready. Danielito's
Did you bring
ready.
the heat today?
I brought the chimney and the chili brings
All
in the heat.
all right.
Let's go. Bowie's in the chat.
I'm excited about a couple things today.
Bring it on. Lay it
Number
on.
one, we're starting on time.
Amazing. And we're Latins. Do we do that regularly?
Yeah. Unfortunately, the Latino spirit is not always on time, but we're not down with that. And anytime we're not on time, it's because literally the house is on fire. But we're getting our ducks in a row. We're making some technical improvements so we can get a better, clear stream for today. And here we are on time, Juanito.
Your cipher is now on time.
Your cipher is on time. That is right. And we're mixing it up. I think the chat's going to be excited about how we're mixing it up today. You're going to win some saucy prizes in the chat in new ways. They're actually not new ways, but we're incorporating them today. And some of you guys have been throwing this idea out there, so we're listening. Like big tech, we're listening.
What are we talking about,
Like
dude?
the government.
I'm like dancing and you're
no, guys,
ranting.
We hear you.
What are we talking about, dude?
All right, let's do this. Let's jump in. Tomasito, let's do this. You guys know the drill. Today we're just going to keep it popping. Pam, pam, pam.
Thank you guys for coming.
I'm Danielito.
And I'm Juanito.
That's right, you are Juanito.
And this is the Collider Craftworks. Quackworks?
Yeah, we're Collider Craftworks, and we're here to bring entertainment. We're here to bring fun and wholesomeness to your family, to your home. We're here to shoot it up. We're here to get it. We're here to get the business. We're here to get it on. We make characters for computer games. We've been doing this for a long time now. We're actually trying to make our own game. And this is it. This is our first shot. We're putting it out into the world. You guys are jumping in. You guys are having fun. You guys are making some money in the chat. Players are playing. And we are surrounded by the who's who in the NFT space. We're getting a huge amount of support. Tony's in the chat. Everything's going to be okay. Let's keep it rolling. I mean, we've got, a Journey Club, Neo Tokyo. Who else do we have?
We've got
everyone's got our back.
A gang.
We've got
Cybercons,
gang.
Project Gorgita, TTOO, NFA, Byte, Affinity Collective, Crypto Walkers, and a lot more.
Yeah, and not only are they sponsoring, they're actually competing for the prize. They're coming in to get the bag, baby.
Yes,
all right, let's keep this popping. Let's keep it popping. All right, so shout out to all of you guys who are supporting us. All of our sponsors. You guys know who you are. You guys are freaking killing it, and we're here to kill it for you.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes, sir.
So yesterday was yesterday a good day?
Was an amazing day.
Argentina brought the win, and there was a massive storm, but we were able to pull through with the stream, and it was an exciting stream. You guys want to see what it was like? Here is a small recap of what it was like yesterday. Juanito, he was a little, he was a little nervous. I was a little nervous, right? And but everything kind of worked out, And
everything sort of fell into place.
Yeah, it kind of. All right.
A little recap on what day one was all about.
That was crazy. Juanito, did you see the leaderboard, dude? Did you guys see a freaking leaderboard? There was an upset. Okay, supposedly they were going to show this video without audio, but they fucked me over. But anyway, so that was just a little recap. We had some great guys jumping on for an interview. Who's the guy who was screwing with us? What's his name?
So you're referring to Catching Man.
Catching Man. He really took us out for a ride. Catching Man, we see you. We know what you're up to. You were, up in my Twitter creating trouble. I like that. People talking shit. It's a tournament. It's all about getting in your opponent's mind. So we had a really fun time yesterday. We had some surprises. DeBozy almost didn't make it. Then he comes out of nowhere and placed, what was it, second place? DeBozy?
Third place for
third
DeBozy.
Place. It was crazy. We had some guys who out of, remember we were B.
Micro B.
He came in. It was a lot of fun. All right, so what are we doing today? We're mixing it up. Not only did we have a good time with the guys competing, we also won some great prizes for people in the chat. Chat, are you excited for some prizes today? Type 1 if you're excited for some prizes. We're mixing it up today. What are we going to do today? Chris, are you ready? We're mixing it up. We are going to we're not going to bet, but we're going to try to guess who's going to come in different spots on the leaderboard. You guys ready? So this is how it's going to work. Are you guys ready? You guys are going to have to guess who's going to make it into the leaderboard. What are we doing here? These are the guys that did it yesterday. Let's keep on moving. We're already on something else. All right. So today there's going to be 1,000 USDT up for grabs, and this is how it's going to work. You guys ready? So for this first round, you guys have to guess who's going to come in 5th place. You can only guess one person. Ready? You can only guess one person. You can only type in one person. And it has to happen before the round starts. All right? And whoever gets it right, the first person to get it right is going to be winning
100 USDT.
You can only pick one person. And then in the next round, you can win 200 USDT. And then on the third round, you can win 300 USDT. So I'm gonna show you guys how this works for anybody who didn't understand. Type 1 if you understood how this works, guys, in the chat. Did you guys get this?
Chat.
The chat is getting it. We don't have a cooldown for chat, right? So for example, let's say for this round, you guess Estabilo coming in 5th place, you would have won 100 USDT if you were the first one to pick. All right, guys? So everybody jump into the chat. And you guys, today, right now, before the round starts, you guys have to guess who's coming in 5th place. If you're the first one to get it right, you're going to win 100 USDT. Get into the chat and start typing away those fury fingers. Figure out who you think will come in 5th place in this first round. Whoever gets it right is eligible to win
sir.
100 USDT. Okay,
And
so everybody got that in the chat? Do you think they got it?
I think so. Don't forget number 16 who got the community life jacket. I wonder if someone remembers who he was. Greedy for win. He was part of the leaderboard too. He was saved by the community life jacket at the very end. The community was generous enough to give him one more life, one more chance,
I don't
one
know.
more shot.
Guys, I see the chat's a little asleep. Do you guys understand you can win 100 USDT? We're not screwing with you guys. We're not like SBF talking shit. We're going to deliver for you guys. Get in there and figure out who's coming in 5th place. You guys can win 100 USDT if you're the first one to figure it out. All right, Juanito, we're going to keep this stream popping.
Let's go.
All
right. So now we have the honor and the privilege and the pleasure of bringing in the voices of the Moshpit Tournament.
Bring it up.
And
Bring
they
it up,
are
bring it up. Make
Monkey
some
Man
noise for
and
Monkey
Bass
Man.
from the Past.
Go, guys. I'm glad we did well enough to be welcomed back. You guys have been party animals this whole time, and it's great to be able to be back here in the pit.
All right. Glad to have you guys. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited. It's 2 days down. Not down yet. I guess we're on the second day at this point. Going to continually cut the pack in half. We almost did that yesterday. Gave a little bit of lenience, but today, not really as much lenience. We're going from 16 down to 8. Quite literally, we are eliminating half of the players in this one, and, well, we're getting ever closer to that multiple $1,000 prize pool that we've been talking about all weekend.
All right, before we leave, you two gentlemen to it. If you guys had to pick one highlight of yesterday, each one of you, what would you pick? The highlight of the day.
Okay. All right. I'd say being able to see D Bosey not blow himself up. That's a pretty big highlight for me. Being able to see D Bosey survive after, taking a rocket to the foot twice in a row and then making it to round 3, day 2 through round 3. I think that was a pretty big highlight to me.
I think also for me would be the Big Brain Poppy, getting able to watch him put up quite literally a 40,000 plus round. Like, we saw him, like, part by part, piece by piece, actually make his way to that. It's a bit different because every once in a while, we tune in, somebody's doing all right, but we really did focus on him at the very end of that one and got to see what was one of the best rounds we've seen played here in the Mosh Pit.
And we can't forget, though, Raze did it a little bit better. So I can't wait to see today maybe a highlight of Raze and what they're doing to get that edge over Poppy, because that top 2 starts to be even more interesting, especially as we work through day 2 into day 3. I want to see both of them, those juggernauts, be able to fight through, and maybe they'll stay at the top 2.
All right, guys, take it away. We're ready to get started. Production, are we ready? We are ready. Let's do this. Let's go, baby.
You know what? It's time for you guys to jump into the pit, the mosh pit, right alongside myself. I'm Hell Monkey Man. That is Bass. And of course, you guys have been fantastic for day 1 through to day number 2. Bass, we got to see some cool hijinks, some neat strats. There was a little bit of standardization across the board of how some of these players were approaching the pit. But then, you know, some of them also stumbled at the starting line and they were able to catch up, which is great to be able to see. It shows that 3 rounds really is necessary to find your best footing here in the pit.
And we continue on with that format. We're still going to stick to the 3-round format throughout this entire weekend, but the big thing for me is that it feels like it's going to be more precious per round the further we get into this thing. Because again, day 1, a lot of warm-up, a lot of trying to figure out what is going to be the sort of bar that you need to meet in order to be able to compete to the next day. Today, though, you don't necessarily get as much of a warm-up because it's the best of the best at this point. All of the slouches have been gone from, you know, day number 1. We might have let one of them sneak in, considering they didn't necessarily do as well as they needed in order to get into the top 15. But again, new dawn, a new day. You never really know, but the one thing we can guarantee is that now that these guys have had some time with a new build, now that they've been able to play in a competitive environment, I'm pretty sure we're about to have some of the most high-intensity shots and just competition here in the Moshpit Tournament. And, well, we got to find out who's playing in this one. Hale, we got to see who's the list of competitors that have made it out of day 1 and are sticking around here for day number 2. You can see it on your screen right now. 16 enter, only 8 will survive.
What's really cool, too, is that they've actually named out a couple of them that are from those different communities that have been able to collide here into Collider Crafts. So, of course, thank you guys for being participants, but also showcasing all your love to those that have been able to go from previous day to now. We eliminated 9. One of them was able to survive. That was Greedy for Win. If you weren't there for the community life jacket, well, they will be part of the 16. They were part of that upper echelon, that top 10 area of players that were qualified through the playoffs, and I think that's why a lot of people were like, okay, Greedy didn't have their good day. Maybe today will be their good day. And we saw the floor. That 15 was about 27,000 points. When it comes to that 8, Bass, it was required. You had to be part of the 30K club to be in that top 10, and that's something that they're going to use as a measuring stick, and so will we, to make it into day 2.
The big thing for me is also we're starting to see that, you know, some of these groups having a little bit more representation than others. TTOO here got 3 reps in day 2. Let's see if they can try and carry those representatives into day 3 as well. Because again, we got to thank all the people that are making this possible. Not just Collider Craftworks, but all of the sponsors that you can see down below. All of these guys are making sure that this event is available for everybody. And, well, it's also available for you guys at home, like we've been talking about. We got giveaways out the wazoo, thousands of dollars and tons of NFTs for you folks at home. And, well, thousands of dollars for the competitors here today as well. We've been bragging about this pretty much all weekend long. Not only are you going to be able to get yourself $4,000 USDT if you win this entire thing, you take home a handful of NFTs and that illustrious helmet that we've been talking about all weekend long. You can see the total breakdown here. Hell, that is 6,000 USDT. Actually, over that in prize pool for just our top 3.
And that's just the USDT. That's not including the 18 NFTs that are spread across that first, second, and third, as well as the helmets that are going to be there. This is the number 1. The number 2 is silver. The number 3 is bronze. It's got your normal just bronze, silver, gold, but it is so sick looking. It's got the brand pricing from all of the partners that are able to make this Moshpit Tournament happen, as well as we were talking about at the very front, right there. It's going to be there forever. The name of the first, second, and third place winners into day number 3, along with the date in which they did it, which is going to be the 11th of December. So no matter where that NFT goes, it will still be remembered as who got it first. And that's really, really cool because that means there's a little bit of extra glory and some honor that kind of follows that particular asset around. So you want to get to that top 3. Again, the floor keeps raising and not a lot of our competitors are going to be able to survive to it. More than 50% did from day 1 to 2. Day 2 to 3, it's only half. And you got to think, this is kind of a 2-lane race for us, Bass. We've got the top 2 of Raze and Big Brain Poppy. We know that they're duking it out, and it's kind of everyone else that has to get into that top 8.
And it feels like at this point, the top 8 is really going to be hotly contested the whole way through. I don't think we're going to have a definitive top 8 until really the 3rd round. I also don't think we're going to see as many slouches. It felt like a lot of the people who sort of fell off early yesterday were kind of staying at that level for the rest of the day. Today, I feel like they're going to hit the ground running, and they're not necessarily going to stop until they're at a full sprint. So I'm interested. We're about ready to get into the action here and get this one going. So I think without further ado, Hale, it's time to kick off the Moshpit Tournament day number 2. Get the competitors into the pit and see what they have got. 16 will enter, 8 will survive. Any guesses for you, Hale, who you think that we might need to keep a pay attention to today? You said Big Brain Poppy and Rays. Any underdogs, some dark horses maybe we also got to pay attention to?
You know, I think the biggest underdog that we got to see stumble really hard at the start, literally inside those first 5 waves, whenever we started off day number 1, Snake. I think Snake is going to be slithering their way. Maybe they'll be slow to start it off, but they were improving every single round, and it took them a while to be able to get to that mark just enough to make it over that line. I think it was around like 14 or 15, so you got to know that they feel the sweat. I got to see a bunch of them on Twitter, and they're all saying, whew, I made it. Heart attack city, palpitations were happening, but you made it, and that's good. Snake is definitely a person to be able to pay attention to. Micro B and D Bozy, they were below that in that bottom 10, and then they were able to jump that hurdle and make it. But I want to see if that top 5 stays the top 5. The top 2, we're pretty, well assured that they're going to have a good system in order. And I mean, I'm getting a little bit of extra game time myself. I've been able to see some of this rebalance, some of this effort that everyone has made. I love the LMG. That is a fantastic gun. I want to see that happen. But again, we're all of a second away from the mosh pit. Is there anyone else that you think that really is kind of a big standout, or maybe is kind of lurking in the shadows for us going into maybe the later stages today?
I think that catching is another person we have to pay attention to. They undersold themselves severely yesterday, and I wonder if it was a little bit of strategy, the 5-headed plays to try and get into the mental of their opponents, or what exactly it was, because what it was a lie. Catching came in here and was like, I'm not going to make top 15. There's no way. Life Raft is where my goal is, and, I placed top 5 first game. Yeah, I think catching might have all thrown us for a loop. The question is whether or not we can see him do the same thing here today. So, I think it's about time here, Hale. Let's give a quick countdown of a 3, 2, and 1. Let's kick this one off. The Mosh Pit Tournament day number 2 is officially underway. And honestly, this is a player I think you and I also should be speaking about. Adam G13, we tuned into them a lot yesterday, and it felt like every time we did, they were getting better than the previous time we had seen them.
Yeah, Adam G13 seemed to vie for the top 5 of this entire competition, and whenever we first saw them, we're like, okay, kind of a middling player, really hasn't made a statement for themselves, and then we kind of just kept with them the entire time, especially through the end of round number 3. Everything just seemed perfect, just went with them, and so I got to think that they have that momentum. Another player you had made mention of that was in kind of that 18th, 17th place when they first qualified, that was Xborg Flowy. We got to see a little bit of their play, and I want to see even more with it. Adam G13 has already actually cleared a few hurdles here into wave number 3. Again, AR combinations, getting that SMG, especially if you get into the purple box, and you guys, you're getting gifted with us having less players. You get to see even more on the deck. It's our quad cam, as we've got Micro B, Catching Man, Alex, as well as Kezia, and Kezia is one of those top 5, top 6 players that we're going to see if they can stay in that high position.
And you're starting to see the speed is also going up. The tempo here. 2 players already on wave number 6 at this point, and are able to find themselves up against the first boss. Yesterday, it took a little while. We weren't necessarily seeing players burn through these like we just saw at a Micro B. 6th wave already gone, and they're not even 4 minutes off the clock. Hey, we talked about this yesterday as well, is that during qualifiers, we saw the maximum score that anybody was able to put up was 41,000. Yesterday, we had multiple players break that 41K barrier, and we're able to set brand new records here for the Mosh Pit. It feels like today we're going to see that all over again, because again, more time on the build, more time for the players to get confident and to be able to feel this one out. I have a feeling that for a lot of these players, we're going to see the exact same thing here today. And honestly, with how Micro B is playing right now, they might be my bet to do it first.
Micro B definitely is going to try and push that limit, but there's a lot of damage, and it's going to be Catching Man. Well, they did say that they're going to catch their own hands at the hands seconds of day number 2. They did not clear the boss level, so that is going to be Catching Man that does go down first. They couldn't clear the first boss wave, while everyone else has been able to at least break around 11,000 points going into that wave. A few of them have been actually pressing against that box. D-Bozy, he was the hero of that top 5 showcase more than now a week ago, and then they were able to make a big push going into that third round, and they seem to be pretty calm. You were talking about around that 4-minute mark. All right, haven't been able to put a big total in their back pocket. It's just working on wave number 4, and they're only about nearly 2.5 minutes here into their first run of the day. How many risks do you think that our players are going to be taking into these first runs? It's that safety versus speed mentality that Catching Man and Daydream were talking about.
Well, you're also starting to see the accuracy on point here. Headshot after headshot, not missing a single one. Got to give credit where it is due. But I have to imagine we're going to start to see the risk taken once you've got that sort of comfort round out of the day. And I think that's the big thing, is being able to have that sort of round that you think could get you into day 3 in your back pocket, and then maybe play some risk. Maybe try to get a bit more aggressive, get in the face of some of these enemies. We talked about this yesterday. Some of the biggest issues that players were facing was just that they were getting overwhelmed, where there was the fanatics that would just dive on top of people and immediately explode and drain them of their health quickly, forcing them to start rotating around the arena and pick up some health. Or something you were talking about even just today, hypers have become a pain in the ass. There is no other way to really put it at this point. They are just overwhelming you, and if you're not paying attention, that overwhelmingness of the SMGs will drain you of your health before you can blink, and all of a sudden you're out of the round and having to try again. So a lot of these opponents that you're going to see, a lot of these waves that come through are going to be about overwhelming the player. Not necessarily doing big damage all at one time, but just forcing these players into awkward positions and seeing really what they're made of. How do they get out of the face of adversity in a moment like this? As we continue on through round number 1, round number 1 here, starting to see some of our front runners already establish themselves. We've talked about Kisa before. They're showing themselves to be a solid player here as they are getting through wave number 9 with not even 7 minutes gone. Again, pace of play absolutely upped here in day number 2.
Something that we did see a moment ago, there was a side-by-side, and it was both, I believe, Daydream as well as Big Brain Poppy, and those are 2 of our top 5s up there. But Big Brain Poppy, they were able to get to 14,000 points and wave number 8 in less than 4 minutes. That was wild. They were already just crushing it, so the efficiency is key. We go to Big Brain Poppy, it is Daydream, and now they're at 16,000. They're around that 5.5 minute mark, and they're already facing off against these heavies here in wave 9. That is one of your 2 men to beat, as they have been playing against Raze, indirectly, but still the same. Daydream was with us the other day. They're talking about, all right, I asked them if they're going to be able to take down Big Brain Poppy, and they were all cool, calm, collected, trying to be that professional, but that's the tip of the mountain. That's the top of it, and everyone is just clawing to be able to get up there. 18,000 points, and they're now moving into wave number 10. Big Brain Poppy doing big things. Daydream is into wave number 9 out of less than 13 minutes remaining, the 15K mark. D-Bozy, not to be forgotten, and this is my dark horse favorite, Snake, 17,000 points, just a little bit short of that 18K mark. They're nearly halfway their first round run, but they're still alive, and this has got to be a confidence builder from them from day 1 to 2.
And that's the big thing, is it kind of feels like a lot of these players will play differently once they've got that confidence in their back pocket. Again, that's just why you kind of need that comfort round. That's why you need a round that, you can sort of solidify your position with and then sort of play from there. Again, we talk about the benchmark. The players don't only have to play against the benchmark of other players, they also have to play against the benchmark of themselves. What are they going to set as their standard? For D-Bozy here, seems like they're setting themselves with a very high standard. 16,000 before we even get 6 minutes into this one, just past that 8th wave, and here comes the 9th. Again, the big thing we've also been seeing here in this second day. Day 1, a couple of missed shots here and there, but as D-Bozy mows down the enemies, you can see accuracy beyond on point, whether it's headshot after headshot with the AR or the rocket launchers really being used at the right times. It's a different day here, and I do think we need to highlight that, because the rocket launcher day 1, people were kind of just using it against, whatever enemy was around them. If it was a desperation move, they would use it to try and create a little bit of space between them and the onslaught of enemies coming wave after wave. Today, we've seen it used rather effectively, a lot of players saving up for that 6th wave and then immediately using it against the boss. I feel like that's going to be more a utility item today rather than just a standard weapon.
And Big Brain Poppy is already showing us a strat that was used on day 1 as well, and it's called the Fanatic Trap. You go onto the AR Canix box and you try to get as many as the exploding Fanatics as you can and be able to mow them down based on the chain reaction explosions and take them out easy peasy. So we go to Micro B, who is on wave boss number 2. They're at more than 20,000. That seems to be one of the marks to beat. 21k on the bottom edge as Kezia is looking pretty good. And we go over to Micro B, hanging out with them. They're about to get at that midway mark. Something that was really tough for me to be able to overcome were the hypers, but same to be said of getting through these boss waves. This boss in particular, they've got the triple rocket launcher, and that is so hard to work against if you're not ready for it. And I wasn't ready for some of these angles. I got hit so hard by Sugar Daddy, and they were able to just smack me a new one, and they're trying to be able to get through that split, that conal spread between. They're doing it with a sniper rifle. They go for the big healing pot on the top ring of this pit, and they've gotten down to about 33% health before they have a full clear of this second boss wave, and they reset for all the factions. When you go through these and each of the factions gets harder and harder, you get more of the heavies, more HP, more damage, and that's what you're seeing a lot of those rocket launcher kills go to, and that's just to get rid of the heavy mobs. Not in a lot of health, but they're able to find some into that Canix, and we go back to the upper ring, and they're trying to keep the distance between them. Snake, they can't break 20k. That's a good starting point for someone like Snake. Not bad at all.
No. And I think, again, that's kind of what we're seeing here is sort of, we do have the two sort of sides of the strategy here. We were saying, Neor's also out of this one, 14,000, not necessarily as impressive of a run out here. But again, the two strategies, the one that you and I are more talking about is try and play with a bit of a safer first round, play with your comfort picks and make sure that you are okay. And then for the second or third or following games, just make sure that you are okay and to sort of test it at that point. But you also could have some players who are maybe going to play a little bit more risky the first rounds, and then they're going to start to get a little bit more into it as time goes on. We're starting to see a couple more players drop off here. Initially, it was only Catching Man who was out. Now we're seeing more and more players get involved and start to drop out here at this point. This player not going to quite drop out. Big Brain Poppy, though, looks like they might have gone down at this point. Interested to see what they finished on here. We're going to make sure that the leaderboard is all good to go, and hopefully we can give you guys a chance to check in just a moment and truly see what was happening there, because I don't think either one of us expected Big Brain Poppy to be one of the first halves to go out here in round number 1.
Yeah, if I'm trusting what the current the leaderboard is, by the way, if you want to be able to see that, tournaments.collider.dg/leaderboard will take you to the right direction while we're in the middle of this entire crazy main event. Big Brain Poppy did get to 28k, so not a bad mark for their first start. Raze is still leading the pack in front of them around that 29 to nearly 30k, and we were talking about how the top 10 as we went through 3 full rounds was filled with everyone at the 30,000 point mark and more. Everyone else is kind of following in behind. El Stabilo, Kezia. Right now we're looking at El Stabilo, who's at that 25,000 mark at around 8 minutes remaining. Not quite the sweat time, but it's starting to be that big time. They're beyond the second boss wave. And again, if you guys haven't seen the kind of cool setup they've set up for us, it is an awesome Hall of Fame, Wall of Fame that a lot of these players that you guys, as a support to the community, are being called out for doing so darn well at this awesome game. And one thing that we got to see earlier, it was Worst Enemy. Instead of just doing the Fanatic Trap on top of that Canix box, they were leading a parade of them, able to dodge away from them. But Wave 13 is clear. That is Daydream that's able to do it. And we're now less than 8 minutes on average across the board.
Daydream seemed a lot more confident than I would say Catching Me yesterday when we were doing interviews with him, and for a good reason. Daydream has proven themselves to be a solid contender. In my opinion, they're probably one of the more reliable picks to say that they're going to be making day 3. However, probably the most reliable pick so far here is going to be Raze. Leaderboard, or I believe, top of the leaderboard yesterday. It looks like they're going to be top of the leaderboard today as they're nearing that 30,000 mark. Just got to try and finish off this one last enemy with a pistol, and I think they should be going on, to wave 15. 14 in the bag, and at this point, I think Raze, like I said, is going to be that player to watch the entire day through. I'm not going to guarantee that they take first place, but I'll tell you this much. If they don't make Sunday, I will be more than surprised. I will be astonished.
Yeah, that would really kind of upend any of our expectations, especially because Raze kind of jettisoned themselves onto that leaderboard during that playoff late term, because it was Big Brain Poppy that had control of it for the duration, for the near entirety of that playoff, and then a late resurgence, and that was Raze that came along alive. Wave 14 does go down, and that's Micro B. That, you know, maybe not so much a dark horse. Maybe they've just been grinding. They and D Bozy were our expected entrants to make it to day number 2 with auto qual instead of just that community life jacket. They've been doing really, really good. They're about to be able to break that 30K mark, and we've now seen quite a few players doing that here early on. This wave in particular, this is the Rad Kid wave, and you start getting a lot of those bruisers. This is not a lot of health for Micro B, so their entire play could end. They're able to at least get to a small healing pot on the lower side of the ring, and now they're gonna go in the upper ring and be able to get what they can. The tall can Xbox, they get the big one, and that is huge. That's about knowing where your spawns are, keeping that rotation, and making sure you're keeping up for grabs for those cooldowns.
And the big issue here is when you're all starting to see some of these heavies come out here with the shotguns, is that's when that proximity, the rotations that we've been talking about, really become valuable. You need to know how to be able to move around the mosh pit here if you want a chance to be able to pick up those health items and really refresh yourself, not only in between rounds, but during the rounds as well. Because again, proximity been a problem. And well, apparently it is not a problem for some of our players though. Leaderboard up on the left side here, and like we were saying, Raze far and away our first place contestant right now at 34,000 points, almost 35. The only player we have so far that has been able to crack that 30,000 barrier, although I do think Daydream's probably going to join them in just about a second here. They're going through this 15th round, and they are within reach of that 30,000 mark. They're in a good position as well. Micro B also in a great position. They're currently sitting in 3rd place overall with 29,600 total, and if they can make it through this 15th round, they will also join at that 30,000 mark. You said this earlier, and I'm starting to agree with you even more here, Hale. 30,000 seems like it's going to be the number to beat. You want to make it a championship Sunday, you need to be putting up a 30 bomb. Otherwise, I don't know if you're necessarily going to be finding yourself with a chance at championship Sunday.
And there's definitely a split difference between our field right now that was able to make that 30K jump, and I think that was beyond wave number 15, 16, and then those that just were not. So there's a lot of gut checking that's going to happen today, especially just to be able to stay alive. There's not enough health in El Stabilo. El Stabilo is still trying to join that 30K club, and it's Daydream that's been looking to do the exact same thing. They've been able to go to the high side ring as we're less than 4.5 minutes to go. This is a lot of rad kids trying to be able to chase down our prototype main right now here with Daydream, and they're having a small barricade stand between them and a healing pot. So right now, looking pretty good. Daydream will be able to run it out. They're trying to get rid of this wave number 15 before they go just nearer and nearer to another boss wave forthcoming. The Bruisers chasing them down. The Chosen will be on the other side of this as well, and they don't want to get taken down too soon. One big thing that will continue to be a strat is making sure that not only taking down these waves, but doing so when you're ready to. Being able to have maximum ammo, maximum health, and not just getting caught unawares on the ring and in the pit when you're not trying to. And the 4-minute mark forthcoming, getting ready to go. And Adam G13 also trying to join that 30K club. I was looking at that number 8 position, and the floor of it I thought was around 25K. It still sits somewhere in that range, but we're all about to see this break into 30s.
Yeah, it really does feel like, again, 30 is it's not even the number to beat, it's the requirement. If you can't get to 30K, there's no way you're making it past here on this day, and I think that's a big thing that these competitors are going to struggle with, is that the bar has been raised. They, number one, that 20 to 22,000 is what we were really looking at, and just to be able to make it to the next day. And here with only 16 competitors, though, it doesn't surprise me that the stakes have been raised and that the ability to make it through is a lot more difficult. And as you can see, for all of these players, they're starting to struggle. The health getting a little bit lower here now that we're into the latter rounds. Yesterday, we were saying, get past wave 10, you got a good chance. Here, I'm starting to think, wave 20 might be the number you need to hit. And we saw very few players be able to get to wave 20, so now I'm wondering, who's going to be that first player to not just crest that 20 wave mark, but maybe the 25, because we're seeing a lot more players get down to a couple minutes left, but at least make it past 15. So if you can get to that wave 20, I think you secure yourself not only a day 3 appearance, but potentially a bag. Because again, so much on the line for these players. Over 6,000 USDT in total prize pool for just our top 3, plus all of the NFTs you could ever ask for. There's a lot to play for here, Hale, and these players are just about done playing in round number 1. Under 3 minutes to go for almost everybody who is still alive. And again, I say everybody who's still alive because we've seen a lot of players already bite the dust, not due to time constraints, but just due to the enemies overwhelming them.
Yeah, and you know that they're in the Twitch chat right now trying to make sure, all right, who's going to be the top dog? And right now in that lower right, it was Raze. That they're nearly approaching 40K, and they're on that third iteration of that boss and trying to be able to get to that 40K mark and basically retire for the day and maybe go to day number 3 early if they feel like it. Adam G13 at 31,000. Everyone is now under 3 minutes left that is still alive. One of the best things I've seen out of this special weapon of the rocket launcher is how quickly that you can be able to reset around those explosions. It used to be that it would reset your reticle, and then that you would kind of be in a weird position trying to just be able to get your aiming and everything good to go, but it's been right back in it. So for our quad set right now, Wolverine, Adam G13, El Stabilo, and Raze. Raze has broken 45,000 points. They're trying to get through wave 19 if they can. They may not have enough time to get to wave 20. Wolverine looking to just survive. They're not on a lot of health. They're facing off against wave number 16 with a minute and a half remaining, 100 seconds and less. And this is that measuring stick. This is going to be that big pack runner. Wolverine is trying to take down the Hypers, but they are being overran right now. This is one of the toughest factions in the game, purely because they're going to overwhelm you with numbers. And numbers, talking about that right now, Bass, time is ticking here for round number 1's closure.
I don't know if they're necessarily going to be able to finish this wave and make it through. And unfortunately for them, even if they do make it through, they're 2 away from the boss. So the odds of them finishing the boss before time expires, I'd say slim to none at this point. And it doesn't really look like we're going to get anybody that's actually going to be able to get through the 3rd boss here at this point. Maybe Wolverine, though, could at least see the day. Never mind, I'm corrected by production. They're showing me Daydream is already on wave 18, and they're closing in on finishing off this boss. They've only got 20 seconds to do so, but they've drained them of almost 75% of their health. A couple more good LMG shots should be able to drop them. With 15 to go, they got a rush. Daydream dropping in, draining the health. 10 seconds left. Can they get this one done? Charging in, they know they need to, and they will do it. Wave 18 finished in the very first round. They will also break that 40,000 barrier. 42,000 a Daydream to start off their second day. That has gotta feel good.
That's gotta be amazing. That's the 40K club that's a little bit less exclusive as it adds another member into it. Wolverine is still fighting for their life. They've got about 10 seconds coming up. I don't think they have much that they can really gain through this, as they're at the beginning of wave 17. We have at least one more as Adam G13 as well. They've got a few seconds. They just got wave 17 down. So this is an extension of the 30K club where you kind of exist in that middle to upper limit of our top 16 today. Wolverine will end out with 30,797 points. So pretty good pocket to be able to have available to you. And it's all about creating your bank, be able to extend it, be able to have a good first round run. I believe that one did complete us in through round number 1. So Bass, we got to see some great starts. Daydream coming in hot, able to get to the 40K, but in front of them, Raze got at least 45, showcasing not just how that 3rd boss is kind of that measuring stick, but also that's where so many of those big points come from to really jettison you out from the 30s into the 40s and into control of this competition.
It's starting to look like, I was saying 20 might be the number that guarantees you a day 3 appearance. I'm thinking it might be 18. Get through that 3rd boss, and you guarantee yourselves a position in day number 3, or at least that's how it's going. 30,000 still seems to be the minimum that you're going to need in order to try and be at least in competition with the rest of the players playing here today. But the reality is, for me as it stands right now, I don't know if there's any guarantees here, because it feels like everybody has stepped up. I don't know if, like, they just got off yesterday, you know, from the competition and went, all right, time for me to grind like literally through the night. I've seen players do that before. It seems like they might have done that here today, because I don't think we saw a single player who didn't at least step up their game from yesterday. Yes, we saw Catching Man go down rather quickly, but it looks like they were playing a little bit risky, a lot more in the face of their opponents than before. We saw a lot of people try to create separation between them and the enemies that would continually bombard them, versus Catching Man, who was just kind of getting in the face. So again, experimentation still going to be a huge factor here, but as it stands right now, looks like it's the same old, 40,000 plus for a couple of our players, and they might have already punched their ticket to day 3.
They very much could have, and I can't wait to be able to see what Big Brain Poppy, who was one of our big front runners, they took an early exit. Maybe they're just ready to sweat it out, but a couple of guys that are sweating regardless. It's going to be Danny and Johnny that we're going to throw it back to. Guys, round number 1 is over here for day 2 in the books. Tell us about it from your perspective.
That was freaking cool.
All right.
That was a Daydream. Did you see that one coming?
That was a surprise.
Yeah. Daydream was talking shit in Twitter, and he came and he backed it up. I love it. Do you guys like this dynamic of having to guess who's gonna come in different spots in the leaderboard? That was pretty crazy. I don't right? Does anybody know who got it on 5th?
Christopher's trying to figure it out as we
Christy,
speak.
who was the first one to get it in 5th place with Wolverine 777? That was freaking cool. It caught us on the edge of our seat. You get it in the edge of your seat quite often, no, Juanito? Johnny, Ray's Daydream, El Stabilo coming in hot. All right.
Amazing.
Do you guys like this dynamic? Chat, type 1 if you guys want more. Who wants 200 USDT for the next round? Should we
Are we
double
going
down?
bananas here?
Should we double down? Should we double down, Johnny? Let's give it to the chat. They want it. They want to take it. They want to bring it. All right. So this is how it's going to work on this next round. How much are we giving away for the winner in the chat in this next round, Juanito?
200.
200 USDT.
Papi.
Señora, señor, 200 USDT para usted. All right, guys. So 200 USDT for the first person who can figure out what player will come and place 4th in the leaderboard. So you guys can only choose one person. You have to choose them before the round starts, and you have to figure out who's going to come in 4th. You can only choose one person, and you have to do it before the round starts. And with that, we're off. We're going to take a break. We're going to let the players breathe. We're going to let them do a little yoga. We're going to do a little bit of meditation. We're going to bring it down a tiny bit, but the DJ's not going to bring it down. The DJ is bringing the heat. Let's go with Fer. We're going to go for a little break, guys. Thank you to everyone who's making this possible. The players, the viewers, production, DJs. You guys cut me off whenever you want. Just take it to the break. The break.
Cypher
Yes.
is now. Is now. Is now. Cypher is now. Is now. Cypher is now. Is now. Is now. Cypher is now. Is now.
Welcome back, everyone. We're getting into even more mosh pit time. I'm still Hail Monkey Man, and that is still Bass, and you guys are still hopefully having a great time. Remember, we've got 16 people, 15 plus 1 if you count the awesome community life jacket that you were able to gift to them, that are competing today through 3 separate rounds. Bass, round number 1, the 40K club gained a new member, but it also lost an old member as Big Brain Poppy hit the dirt a little earlier than usual.
Yeah, the big thing for me is not just that they hit the dirt early, but it's also the fact they didn't even crest that 30,000 mark that we are saying is so crucial on the day. And you can really see that here. Our top 6 competitor are currently all over that 30,000 mark, and only our top 8 are making it into the next day. And although this is only round number 1, it's already showing itself to be pretty much exactly as we expected, which is a lot of our front runners up at the top and some of our other players needing a little bit of a revival in the next coming rounds. I would say the couple of surprises as we look at this list here, the leaderboard on your screen right now. Big ones for me. Kezia out in 8th place. They technically didn't do poorly, but 25k, not what we come to expect out of a player like that. And Catching Man being the first one to go down, the only competitor to die within the first couple of minutes here, as they don't even crest that 10,000 mark. And we're saying that 30k is what you need in order to make it to day 3 here. Catching, you have gotten your 1 wasted round out of the way. You can't afford to do that again. 2 more rounds to go here on the day, and if you're not able to complete those rounds and do something special, you're not making it a championship Sunday, and this is where the end, this is where it's going to be the end for you for the Moshpit Tournament.
What do you think? Do you think Catching Man is just building the narrative? Like they were like, oh yeah, I'm out day 2. Do you think they're just trying to like be? It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy kind of thing. Just like I'm done. I'm tired. I don't want to do this anymore. It's fine. It's like maybe like I feel like they subverted our expectations, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm actually just here for the ladies. That's okay. That's really why I got live on stream in front of all the bros. But I feel like they have what it takes to be able to make it into that marker. These guys were kind of in that 27, 28 range when it came to qualifications from yesterday to today. But big expectations. Look. If there was ever a player that's in Dark Horse territory, it is Snake, and I love that they, very purposely, totally for the narrative, went out just a little bit earlier than usual, just so, so the cool story can really rise up. Snake has already hit 50k. He just hasn't shown you guys yet, okay? Yeah, he's looking pretty good. But this is going to be now, all right, how like, especially for Big Brain Poppy, I wholesale expect this one to be the round that he gets right back into form. If not, we start to get just a tiny bit worried, just a little bit.
I do think there's a little bit of cause for worry, but I think it's going to be more after that second round, because then when push comes to shove, your back's up against the wall. You've got one last chance here. Luckily enough, they get 3 lives, 3 strikes and you're out, or maybe 3 strikes and you hit a home run if you're Raze or Daydream here. Again, we really do have to highlight. Took us a little while in order to get to, 3 strikes doesn't work. 3 at bat, I don't know, whatever you want to go for at this point. Listen, baseball is a sport that is outdated at this point. We're talking about soccer, or I guess football here on the day. It is football, not soccer, even if I am American. Regardless, at this point, with Raze and Daydream here at the top of our leaderboard, I feel like they have now set the expectations high. It took us a while to really see those overwhelming scores in day number 1. Here in day 2, 2 players out the gates hitting over that 40,000 mark. One of them even potentially beating their record from yesterday. I know Raze hit 48,000 yesterday. I don't know how much, though. It was 48,000 something.
Like
at 48,000, and 48,479. It's one of the best scores we've seen so far, and I'll tell you this much. Currently, of our top 3 scores of all time, Raze holds 2 of those positions. So Raze, again, the player to beat right now. They seem to be the one that everybody's going to be chasing the tail of.
Yeah, Raze, I almost expect for them to try and break 50, at least by day number 3, which it seems almost inevitably just pushed to get there in the first place. They are propelled by, I want to be able to get the largest chunk of that USDT. Remember, it's more than 6K that they're playing for, 18 NFTs spread across that top 3, but there's a whole lot for our non-winners as well. They won't get the cool bronze, silver, and gold, but they're going to be able to have all those cool NFTs, of course, those Cypher airdrops as well, and it comes from all of you guys, the community out there. But it's time for us to go back into the pit. Let's do it one more time. This is the second out of 3 that we have for day 2. How about a 3, 2, 1? let's drop back into the mosh pit. I cannot wait to see how all of it ends out. Remember, you got 20 minutes on the clock. You got 5 faction waves, and then it goes into boss waves. And like you were saying a bit before, Bass, it's about getting to that third boss that really separates you from the rest of the pack.
It really does feel like that's the mark at this point. I would say the minimum is starting to become wave number 12 as well. That second boss you need to be able to beat if you want to at least put up a solid score at this point. And again, that's what we're talking about here, is that this isn't the final day yet. As much as we are trying to say, oh, break that 40,000 barrier, get to the very top, you don't have to. You don't have to do that quite yet, and the money's not on the line here yet. It is going to be the difference between walking home with a guaranteed decent amount of NFTs for a lot of money versus walking away with maybe a couple in your pocket, because everybody who's made our top 25, everybody who made it through qualification and into the official Moshpit Tournament is at least walking away with something. But the big difference here is whether or not you're going to be walking away with a custom helmet, some NFTs, and thousands of dollars in USDT, or just walking away with the NFTs. It's a lot to play for here, and already the competitors are playing in round number 2 and doing well. Again, we're seeing this, the upping of the pace of play. Look how many players have already gone through multiple waves, and we're not even 2 minutes into this thing.
Yeah, they're just cresting in through that second minute of play. We're going to see some more of D-Bozy. D-Bozy was able to get to that 21K mark, not quite enough to get to that upper 8, but it's, again, not necessary. They didn't get to that upper 15 until wave number 3, or rather, round number 3. Wave number 3 does complete, and I do love seeing the kind of the variance of what everyone decides to choose when it comes to the representing faction, or rather the champions. Shout out to Micro B, who was the only one to be a rad kid. Super limited to who kind of picks up into that. Everyone loves the prototypes, the Chosen, as well as the lone Neo Tokyo as well, which is what Raze is sporting from that community. Did that body just go up with the door? It ragdolled its skull up into the poor hinge up there. So this game, it's both comedy in action and action in action with the speed that these guys are executing out in the pit.
That was what I was just about to say as well, is that normally wouldn't happen, but they're literally killing enemies out the gates immediately. And this is also another strategy. Top right, you can see Micro B, something we talked about before. Initially, that rocket launcher being used just to sort of create space. Now it's really being utilized as a way to take down these bosses with quick efficiency. They drain them of so much health within a second, and Kiza does the same thing. Almost a third of the health gone here from Twinkle already. And with the sniper in hand, they're hitting headshot after headshot. Again, accuracy been a huge thing here today. Look how quick Kezia goes through that 6th wave and makes it on to 7. Not even 4 minutes gone. They're over that 11,000. Again, we're looking at 50,000 being that, trendsetter. Can you make it that far? If they can get to 50,000, it'd be something impressive. But again, 30,000 the mark that you need to beat, and multiple players here in our second round already on track to do exactly that.
Yeah, and I love that that's something that you can kind of look to the top of the mountain and say, all right, I could climb up to that. I really have the ability to do so, but it's about focus. And of course, Kezia, one of our few Journey representatives as well. One of my favorites when it comes to all of our champion skins, but everyone looking really cool, calm, and clean at this point in time. It seems to be that everyone has been able to crest beyond, well, majority have been able to crest beyond that first boss wave. Export Flowy is still getting through their first 3, and they're going to be working into number 4. Big Brain Poppy, 11,000. We saw them at this mark. It's around that same amount of time, too. It took them less than 4 minutes to get to 11K and into wave number 7. So kind of that measuring stick. They want to be able to catch up. It's both of them. And again, the side-by-side. I love seeing this, especially because Daydream has put themselves in a great position to really kind of challenge the top of the stack. D-Bozy, again, they are now in wave number 7, and that, as we see this on repetition, Bass, we're going to see similar scores at similar times at similar waves. 11K at 4 minutes is kind of that time trial to get to.
Yeah, it really is. It does kind of feel like 11,000 is kind of like that minimum mark just to be able to say that you're, like you said, on track, being able to be pretty solid. Export Flowy here started a couple minutes later than the rest of our competitors, so they're still playing a bit of a catch-up game here, and they need to make quick work of this boss. We've seen a lot of people, like we said, very quickly run through this first boss and are able to move on to the following round. They're taking a different strategy on this one. In their face with the LMG, draining health like there is no other. And that's something we have not seen. Again, that in-the-face attitude attitude, unfortunately left Catching Man out of the competition within the first one, but this time it's Micro B who takes an early exit. Not a bad score in round number 1, but round number 2, not the same story. That 30,000 mark they passed it the first time, not even close. 13,000 this time in round number 2.
The good news is that, like we've been touting, 30K is at least where you want to be slightly more comfortable working into maybe day number 3 forthcoming, depending on how the grind happens through this second round. So you can take a round off saying, all right, I messed up, didn't quite make it. That's okay. That's okay. Alex, though, they were also one of our other Journey representatives. They finished 12th at 20,000 points, and they're at nearly 13K through 5.5 minutes of play. And this is what you want to see against these heavies. They're working with a shotgun. That's been the 3 separate strats that we've also seen work, but they take a rocket straight to the abdominal to put a new belly button on them, getting dabbed on by the heavy just nearby. So Alex will end sub 13K, and because they didn't make it higher than 12th with 20K in round number 1, that means round number 3 is all they got left.
It's do or die at this point. Cutthroat is the best way to describe it, especially considering it's becoming more commonplace. El Stabilo, not necessarily in the same sort of boat as their opponent here, or I guess Patriot, however you want to contend to the rest of these people. But as we're seeing, multiple players going down before even cresting that 20,000 mark. For some players, it's a problem. Some, it's not so much. Like we said, for El Stabilo and Wolverine, they're both over 30,000 in their first game. For players like Hatching Man, that's more where it's going to be important. They go down in their second game as well. All of a sudden, they're really going to have to rely on that third game and guarantee themselves a shot. Speaking of shot, how about shotgun? Just waving enemies up into this upper rafters and using the shotgun to drain them one by one, but he shouldn't have dropped from the upper rafters because his health's going low, scrambling to try and find a health kit, and he will find one, but it is the small health kit, not the large one. It gives them a second longer, but they got to keep on rotating through and find that big pot like they do. Catching again, another moment of scariness here, but they will survive. This has been the issue for Catching, is that their rotations have left them in close proximity with a lot of these enemies. When those enemies get close, that's when your health starts to drain so quickly.
Yeah, and that's something that really happens a lot between the factions of the Rad Kids and the Hyper, because one begets the other. The Rad Kids, they on that first shot that you hit them with, they will dodge, and quite often they dodge towards you, which allows for some of that accuracy to go up, but then the Hypers right after, they will start hitting you with plentiful amounts of shots. So if you go for a little bit of that AoE and that quick fire, whether it be from the SMG or from the LMG or from a shotgun, you got to make sure you're at least accurate enough to take them down. But look at the spread right now. We're in that 13 to 12 minute remaining range. Greedy for win. They were the ones that were they were voted into this second day. They ended around 21K in 9th place in our first round. They're at 18K. They're trying to be able to crest over that snake, doing a little bit better. They're about where they were. No, actually, they're 6K short of where they eventually fell off. Worst enemy in a good position as well, but they're still just a little bit short of where they were. We've not gone to that time frame when everyone was dying. As a pattern bass, we saw players that already achieved 30K. They're in a comfort zone. They can be a little bit riskier. It's the safety versus speed. They went with speed. They died, but they're not worse off. Greedy is going to be one of those players. They've got to take what the community gave them, and they've got to run with it, and they've now been able to hit the 20K mark.
Yeah, at this point, we're starting to see that 20K mark really be not necessarily the minimum, but it's more just a standard at this point. We're seeing a lot of players get there without a lot of effort, and really, it's 2 waves around for X-Borg Flowy here that is kind of that tester, that really end-all, be-all. That second boss, something you really need to be able to get through, and if you can get to the third one and beat it, that's where you kind of punch your ticket into day 3. Like we said, Championship Sunday just around the corner, and if you want to guarantee yourself a spot there, you need to be getting to wave 18 and taking down the boss with you. Close to that that third boss is Big Brain Poppy. However, Kezia shot on his tail as well. Sugar Daddy in front of them, and they have found themselves with half the health already gone and a sniper in hand. They do miss their final shot with the sniper, though, so they're going to have to rely on the AR to try and drain some more health. Where's that LMG? The LMG, another thing that's been so useful for all these players, and oh my word, draining health with quick succession is Kezia yet again. Kezia's been a good player here, but they're struggling to take down this boss quickly, trying to just find ammo, trying to find good weapons, and trying to find enough health that they don't need to worry. They've got a good angle here on top of the boss. Less than about 20% of the health left here. And if Kezia can take this down, they're well on their way to potentially up their score from round number 1, and indeed they will. Rocket Launcher finishes them off, and for Kezia, who did not have a good first round, this is big for them.
That uh-oh for me was because they were standing right next to one of the rocket launcher mobs, and that was the heavy rocket launcher mob. I don't know if you've seen how much that these factions and these waves and minions work out between the repetition when you get to see him. That dude is flexed, and he's carrying a massive rocket launcher and will try to mess you up. On the Sugar Daddy second boss round, it's going to be Catching Man that's trying to catch up to the rest of this field. They have been able to improve what they had before, that the 20k portion, again, that's all of a measuring stick to make sure that you keep on track with the rest of the field. Getting in the face of the boss so that that conal shape doesn't work against them, but Catching Man will catch these hands as the boss will continue to dance on their grave. They get more than 50%, but more than 100% of their HP bar hits below 0. So they're representing the Cyberkongs going to this matchup. Catching Man, they finished with 19k and 15th place out of 16, and now they're gonna be in that 20k, but that doesn't really get them a lot of spots, and now the third round will be all or nothing for them.
And this is really why you gotta accurately mark your enemies. Because again, Catching Man tried that strategy of getting in the face of the boss first round, and it worked out. They drained their health very quickly due to all of their shots hitting. But you do that against some of the later mobs, some of the later enemies here, and you're gonna run into some issues here. Daydream running into no issues though. Wave 13 completed, and they're only halfway through. Again, the mark that we're looking for is that 18. If anybody can get past round 20 though, that's where all eyes will be on them. Not necessarily because it wins them the whole thing, because like we said, day 3 is really where you gotta put the pedal to the metal and pull out all the stops, but it will show that it's possible, and I think that's what we're trying to see here, is can anybody get through that 20th wave? Can anybody even get to the 20th wave? Because the furthest we've seen is someone beat the 18th wave with that third boss, and then just kind of end on the 19th. If anybody can even get to that 20 wave, you've got my respect, as well as probably also a over 50,000 point total. So, let's see, can anybody get there? Right now for Greedy for Win, they're at 26k with only about 11 minutes gone, and they are making quick work of this 13th wave as well, continuing to drop enemies like flies, headshot on headshot as the AR in hand, and they do not miss.
They do not, and one thing that we're not going to miss out is our current standings. Let's go ahead and pull that one up, and let's see what everything looks like. We do have our quad shot. Snake does drop out again. They're pushing their luck and my heartstrings as they get to 19,000. They're going to stay in that dark horse position. I believe in them to be able to do so. Greedy for Win is going to be able to improve as well as they go to 26k, and then Neo, who had made an early exit around 18,000 on the first iteration of this, they are now at 25. So looking pretty good, Neo. Let's check out that scoreboard as well. Daydream is at 30k. The 30k club still operating quite well with Daydream at the helm. Ray's at that 48,000 mark. Remember, those are their best 2 scores. Those scores are fresh today. You guys that are trying to be able to grind this game at home, you're going to be seeing yours happen a lot, but this is what they've done today through previous rounds and what's operating right now of their heaviest scores. X-Board Flowy. They're actually doing fantastic. Remember, they came in as like a 17th, 18th seed from the playoffs here into day number 1, day number 2. They're really starting to drive to be able to push themselves into that top 8.
They're doing a great job, and I feel like this was also a player that the more time that they got to play, the better that they got. And that's a big thing, is that at this point, you really do need to be able to improve yourself round after round, because if you do not, well, unfortunately, you're probably not going to get another chance. I do say, though, Snake, as much as you might be a little bit worried about them right now, we saw this yesterday as well. They didn't really do well through the first 2 rounds, but come round number 3, that's when we started to see them established, and, well, Export Flowy trying to establish themselves their final enemy and how they're going to kill them. They ended up getting stuck in a box, so they kind of had to maneuver around. Big Brain Poppy, though, having no trouble maneuvering at all. They're at 36k, and they're not even 75% of the way through this second round. This could be another player that crests that 40,000, and we expected them to do that in the first round. Seems like second round, though, is where they're going to make their mark, as 16th wave is down, and they're at 38,000 with over 5 minutes to go.
They are so close to getting... Oh, Export Flowy! As soon as we jump to his POV, 31,000 points will be where they stop. But that's not a bad position. They had 29k going into that previous round. 31k is what they're looking at, and they will end out at least somewhere right now into the middle of the pack. So a good showing so far. That actually right now has them at 6th place. So showing up some more of those Cyber Kongs assemble. Wave number 15 just getting completed by Kezia, who was in the top 5 at the ending of of our previous, and now looking pretty good to maintain that Big Brain Poppy when we saw them before. They're looking to get at least into the 40s. I think if they go through that chosen round and into that third boss wave, but it's easier having to deal with some rad kids as soon as they spawn. This journeyman right now is just turning them into atoms with how quickly they can kill them.
And you can really see that it's based on rotations here. They know that they can drain a little bit of their health by just pressing up against those doors, and if they know exactly where the health pickups are around them, just rotate onto them and gain that back almost immediately. You can see they're literally playing around the health right now, knowing that they can take some damage just as long as they can refresh it quickly enough. And speaking of refresh, there is one. Greedy for wins, someone we haven't talked about a lot tonight, but I think that we might need to because they're past that 30,000 mark with still over 5 minutes to go. If they can just keep on track like this, they might just be able to also join that 40,000 club that has been so illustrious so far, but a lot of players still in this one. Yes, we've seen a couple of early exits out of some of the usual faces, but in terms of our upper echelon, they're vying for bragging rights at this point here. Who's going to be able to put up the best score in day number 2? Because even if it doesn't give you the crown quite yet, or I guess I should say the golden helmet, not necessarily a crown, it's at least going to show yourself to be some serious competition going into day number 3. Greedy, though, does pop off with the rocket launcher rather quickly. Again, we've been talking about, you gotta use that as a utility. As much as you might want to just use it on random enemies to try and make quick work of them, rocket launcher doesn't come around all that often. If you don't use it at the right times, you might not be able to use it at all. Kezia might not be able to even see, though, the 17th wave as they are drained of their health, making quick rotations around the mosh pit, but they need to try and find some sort of health drop. They pick them all up. Kezia, start firing back, my friend. You can't just play the pacifist. You gotta get in their face.
Oh, they're trying to run a marathon where everyone else is trying to be able to do a Spartan run and just take them down with some weapons from afar. That's because the LMG is going to the hands of Kezia. They're going to start to fight back. They're going to go against those hypers. Again, this is one of the 2 toughest factions in the game, not just because they have some of those tougher enemies and they have some heavies, but it's because they start to overwhelm you with so many shots, and these guys don't miss often unless you put a hard thing between you and them. That could be a Canix box, it could be a pillar, it could be a tire, it could be anything, as well as just some guns going downrange. Kezia fights back. They get the LMG and they start smacking on the attack. Daydream is dealing with a chosen round, and this is the final faction wave before the 3rd boss rotation. Look how quickly they've been able to get to this. This is going to be key for them to be able to break into the 40s, but this is also a step behind Big Brain Poppy's efficiency that we saw before. Greedy for a win, 32,000. Staying alive on just a dream, but they are being tracked down. It's another hyper wave, and this is one of the tougher waves because this is the 3rd rotation of it, and you have to deal with so many bullets so quickly. We have about a 5th, 4 minutes and less on average across the majority of our survivors that are still here in round number 2 on day 2, and they're trying to go for those power weapons to be able to have that difference between themselves and the rest of the mobs.
Now, as you guys saw, we checked in with Big Brain Poppy for just a moment there, but they've already gotten past that 40,000 mark that we said they needed to do so. Big Brain Poppy, one of our front runners in day number 1, found an early exit in the first round of day number 2, but now they've reestablished themselves as one of those players to beat. Kezia, another player we said needed to be beat, but right now they're struggling to be able to get away from enemies. I think the big thing for Kezia right now is they're getting just a little bit overwhelmed. They are using the trap strategy of just trying to get all these fanatics into a box and use them to chain react those explosions. And as a result, they're going to move on to boss round. It is wave 18, and now they're going to have rocket launcher in hand and get prepared, but they might have not meant to do that. I think what they meant to do there is hold up in the box for a second and then use the rocket launcher and then the sniper rifle after. A little bit too careless with their movements, and no rocket launcher will be found, meaning it's going to be a little bit longer of a battle versus the 3rd boss.
Yeah, you don't get to get that big. I think it's like a quarter or a third chunk of the health bar off of that 3rd boss, and so they're going to be vying for some of those big points. That's like 10,000 points in this round. That really puts you over that limit to be able to get into the 40s. Kezia looking pretty good. They're able to keep just cool, calm, kosher. This is your 2 strategy set. You either get that rocket launcher on the initial blast and you work for sniper shots, or you can work for snipers and go to the LMG and try to be able to just spam as many of those big bullets downrange as best as you can. We have seen the shotgun strat, at least that was day number 1. Haven't seen that here on day number 2 today. If you get those all focused in one little area on some good critical shots, you can be able to take down that 3rd boss, any of these bosses, very, very fast. So the sniper will respawn. Kezia is going to take a few extra pot shots. They're going to go to the upper ring to do it from a nice, safe area, but this boss likes to go into the upper ring as well, so they're sometimes tough to find. Can they be able to get them down before they get taken down? They're going to get out of danger. They've only got 30 seconds to do it here, Bass.
Yeah, they got to keep trying to put as many shots on target as they can. Again, that rocket launcher really coming in critical now. So critical that they might even die for it. They get drained to their health quickly. Zakezia going to take a little bit more of a measured approach. If they can get to that rocket launcher, it's great. But if they do, it could be at the cost of their round. That's drained to maybe 10% of their health remaining. Rocket launcher in hand, and it will hit. Can they finish off the boss here, though, very quickly, make it to the next round, and at least secure themselves some extra points? I don't know. They've got 6 seconds to do so. Kezia throwing it in. 2, 1. They will not finish the round. Finishes off with 35,000 points. It is an improvement for Kezia, but it is not past that 40,000 barrier. Look who might just be able to break 50K, though. They have made round 20 and 49,000. This is the best round we have ever seen, and the first player on stream to make it to wave number 20.
Oh, daydream. Is it just a daydream, or are they living a real dream? You've got the heavy rocket launcher folk. You're trying to be able to get past them. That's the prototypes. This is some of the toughest and the most HP-driven mobs in the entirety of the Mosh Pit. Daydream looking for 50K. That would put them far away in the lead, but no, they will end with 49,000. What a run to be able to get not just to wave number 20, but also to that mark. 35K even. That is the first time I've seen a score be 0-0-0 at the end of it. 20,000. Greedy for Win trying to extend it as best as they can. They're also in wave number 18, and guess what? It jumps to 40K. The 40K club is growing by the minute.
We have another member in the 40K club, and this time I believe it is a new member entirely. Greedy for Win, I do not believe was able to make it into 40K in day number 1, and you can see how excited they are here in day number 2. They know they have basically punched their ticket through to day number 3, guaranteed 42,463 as they get to wave 18 and close it out with that 20-minute mark. Again, not going down, not going out of this one, just burning out the clock. Greedy for Win finds themselves again an appearance in the 40,000 club. And my oh my, has that club been illustrious today. Looking at the leaderboard that I have here, I believe there is only 4 total players that have made it this far. Daydream, Raze, Greedy for Win, and Big Brain Poppy. 3 of those guys, I think you and I can agree, we kind of expected that. The 4th one, doing something special. And wasn't Greedy the player also yesterday that got saved by the life raft? Fans, you made the right decision. It paid off.
Yeah, that is wild to be able to see. Not just you guys and everything out there on the mosh pit, but also that the community chose correctly. Beans was one of those players that didn't get to make it. They were also close in that 16th position. They didn't auto-qual, and you didn't choose them, but Greedy for Win was in the top 5 through the playoffs going into today, and they're giving you some love back, some good reciprocation to be able to get into the top 3. I love the return to form for Big Brain Poppy, and even more, I think Big Brain Poppy is ecstatic that they're being challenged to this moment. But Raze has now been usurped as the number 1 position player after they did it to Big Brain Poppy. Daydream, 49,000. That is currently the highest score that anyone has officially reported out of any of our players, and it's looking like they've got a system that they can be able to follow. They may not have to do anything more here, Bass. They may be able to just coast now from round 2 to round number 3, but let's look at the ones that cannot coast. That middle kind of like 6 through 12, especially at the ones below, but that area, 29,000, that's not even the limit. You got to get to at least 31K just to have a chance.
And we predicted this earlier at being the 30,000 kind of being that mark to hit, that if you could get past that 30K mark, you most likely were going to see day number 3. It's starting to seem like you need a little bit more. And I think that was similar to what we saw yesterday. We were thinking, oh, 20,000 and you're guaranteed to be able to make it into day number 2. And then it ended up being, I think, like 23K or something like that. So they're raising the bar every single time that we tune back into this pack. It seems like they have stepped up another level. And well, speaking of step up another level here, again, it just kind of feels like for some of these players at the very bottom, we're waiting for them to just return to their usual level here. For Snake and Catching, man, I gotta say, this is not what we expected. Similar for Debozy here as well. Debozy, though, did do this yesterday as well. They didn't have the first 2 good rounds, and then in round number 3, that's where we really saw them show all that they have got. Debozy, unfortunately, though, you put yourself in the same position all over again. You don't have an option here. You need a big 3rd round, and if you don't have a good 3rd round, this is where the end of your tournament will be. The Moshpit Tournament, it's ruthless at this point, Hale.
Oh,
It takes
yeah.
no survivors. At this point, you got to make sure you make it through or you're getting gunned down and sent home.
Yeah, this is not a forgiving thing, and that's something that will be really cool to talk about too, because at the end of this one, day number 2, we're actually going to get to talk to some key people on this awesome Collider Craftworks squad. This development has been huge, and of course, every single time that someone gets to play it, you give feedback. They take it very seriously. They listen and they improve it, whether they're big tech and they're listening when you don't want them to, or when you do want them to. This has been a great group that's been able to invite us to see this competition, but also you guys to improve their game. And this is just a collaboration of not just partners, but also players and people that want to make this an even bigger thing. So we have another of our players that will be joining us in the booth. So we're getting ready into our another interview. You saw them yesterday. They talked a little bit of smoke, but really about how that they would choke. But today they're one of our top blokes, as we're gonna have Catching Man joining us here in the booth. I think we're ready for him. We're ready to go here, Bass. Catching Man. Oh my God. It's a spa day for Catching Man. Welcome to us, Catching Man. How's everything going? How are you feeling? Do you feel at peace right now?
To be honest, I'm pretty relaxed. You know, I might be losing, but am I really losing? Look at me. Me and Danny's mom, we're having a spa day. It's amazing. It's amazing.
That's
You're
wild.
looking clean.
Yeah.
I like it.
nice.
Looking nice. Looking, making sure the skin is for. Is this okay? Listen, I got to be brutally honest though. Are you blaming the mask? Is that why you haven't been able to make it to the 30K mark yet, or is it the mask? Is there something else, or like what's the reasoning here? Because yesterday you talked a lot of I'm gonna say falsehoods to us. You said you weren't gonna do well, and then all of a sudden you make it in with a very solid score today too. Why aren't you doing the same thing here today? What's happening, my man? Like, let us know.
Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest right now. You remember how yesterday I said K-Dude is my arch nemesis? Well, he wasn't watching, and today he's watching, so I'm kind of a bit scared, you know? Because in reality, I don't want him to know, but I think I'm in love with him. Just don't tell me, please.
Okay.
So, you know...
Now he knows though. He's watching.
That's true.
God, no, guys, why did you... Just... No!
Oh, no!
You see? No, don't play most
No,
for
no.
this. This is on you.
Oh, no.
It's on you.
No,
You know
it's
what?
okay, it's okay. He's a bit slow in the head.
It's off your shoulders.
He doesn't understand.
It's off your shoulders. True love will prevail. Now that you've been able to get it out into the open world, now you can be able to focus on the game. And so you've got this, Catching Man. No one can catch you. Well, maybe you can catch up. I want to know. It's day number 2. You got love is in the air, and we've seen you explode a time or two in the air. I need to know what is the biggest brainest strat that you're gonna bring into round number 3 to be able to qualify for the final day. What are you gonna do?
To be honest, I think I'll just stick with the old strat, just run and shoot by shotgun, you know? It hasn't worked out so far, but it just, you know, Jesus hasn't been in my favor, but I know my gaming will prevail. K-Dude is with me.
All
His
right, I like
spirit
it.
And
Or
Jesus'
Jesus
love
on
is
your
with
side
me.
and
I'm
K-Dude.
sure I will win. Yes, and Jesus.
And Jesus.
We're bros.
Raise up. Well, you know what, Catching Man, you seem to be in a very comfortable position. You seem to be having a great day no matter what happens today. And we hope and wish you all the best of luck. We know that you can do it. Any big shout outs you want to give to anyone out there? Be it K-Dude, your loved one, or anyone else out there that you're just having a great time with?
Yes, okay. First of all, I'd like to shout out Danny's mother for giving me this amazing skincare routine. She is absolutely gorgeous. I mean, really nice. She's really nice.
That's good.
Yeah, and I would really like to ask. Oh, wait, Danielito, and what's the other guy? The baldy guy. What's his name? I forgot his name.
Juanito?
Oh.
Juanito?
Yeah, Juanito. I'd like to ask for his shiny head skin routine, because, you know, I'm trying to get into that, and it's kind of hard, you know. My skin isn't as clear yet. I'm really trying to learn from the best, you know.
You know what? We'll make sure to ask for whatever cleansers and detoxes that they got going on. But you know what?
Yeah,
while you
please.
exfoliate and while you relax, we wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for joining us today, man. We wish you the
Thank
best
you
of
for
luck for
having
round
me.
number 3. Of course.
Yeah, I got you. I'll win for you
Oh my
guys.
God.
I'll win for you guys.
Do it.
Do it.
I'm
do it
ready.
for K-Dude. Do it for us. Do it for you. Oh my gosh. Yes, that's a wild one.
Oh my goodness.
That was fantastic. But I think we got Danny and Johnny on the other end of this as well. So let's go ask them directly about their skincare routine and be able to see what they're ready with, as well as their impressions of round number 2. Danny, Johnny, what do you got for us, guys? How's the couch co-op been? How you feeling over there, guys?
Oh my God, what is going on, Juanito's got the shine. Yeah, that
All
shine
right.
is on another level. Guys, I can't hear myself. I don't
Keeping
know
up with the shine, keeping up with the skincare.
I think that interview was fire, and it might have blown out my. Actually, I'm glad I didn't have to hear, because I think he might have been talking some shit about my mom.
Someone in your family.
And
I'm not sure who it was.
I'm glad I didn't have to hear that, because I would have to go fly out there and beat his ass. So I'm glad I wasn't able to hear that. I think I can start hearing myself now. But that interview was on the next level. I like the energy. I like there's love. There's a little bit. There's like a love-hate relationship going with K Dude. There's a little drama there.
There's a little bit of chimmy. There's a little bit of changa.
This is what entertainment is all about, ladies and gentlemen. Guess what's going on?
Tell us, Danielito.
Nobody was able to figure out who was going to place 5th place in the first round. So we have 100 USDT that we don't really know what to do with. And I know what you would like to spend it on, Juanito, because we've known each other for a long time. But I think it should go back into the pot. Should we make this pot spicier?
Back into the pot?
Back into the pot.
We'll see.
Who wants us to put those 100 USDT into the last round? So the winner of this last round will win 400 USDT. Chat, are you guys down for that? Yes, the chat is down. I think we're gonna
double
put
down. The chat is down.
USDT, dude. That's pretty crazy. I think we're getting a little crazy here. I don't know how we're gonna pay the bills. I don't know how we're gonna keep the lights on, but we're gonna party as true DJs. We're gonna live for today, because today's what counts. We don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow, Juanito. We don't know if the world's on fire tomorrow, but we know we're alive. We're here. We're today here with our team. So, guys, we're going for a break. Next round, you guys have to figure out who's gonna place 3rd. 400 USDT for who will place 3rd in the last round. That is one saucy prize, and we're going to a break. Guys, take it away. And 1, 2, 3, we are out. You guys have a good time with the DJ. We're going to get a little bit of a breather.
Pónganle los 3 minutos.
Sí, ahora sí.
¿Cuánta gente creo que me escuchan? ¿Quién se escucha? La gente me escucha.
All right, guys. No tournament is a real tournament without some tricky business. We have some tricky business going on. The judges are in my ear here, and they're telling me something happened in the last round. It's a little sus.
Oh.
You guys tell me what you think.
no.
All right, so this is what happened. We have
Okay, all right.
Raids, who came in second, right? In the last round, he beat his last score, but he didn't stream it, so we weren't able to observe it. And we have judges that are watching everything.
Okay.
So what do you guys think we should do for this round? Yes or yes? He has to stream this round, right? Like, if we're gonna take the score for this one, he's got to be streaming, right?
Yeah, I mean, you got to show it to us. So
Yeah.
you can't just trust him. You got to see.
You got to
it.
bring
But-
them
so-
receipts.
he definitely keeps his other score. Like, I think.
But the one that we weren't able to watch, he should keep the one that we were able to watch, which was for the
yes,
for the first
correct.
one.
He should,
Yeah, exactly.
He keeps that one because that
one,
you know
yeah.
it's just like speed running is done live, so you can prove that you did it for real. It's got to be an official judgment. That's
All
what
right.
I think.
Yeah. So we need to be able to we need to be able to observe the score. So we were able to observe and verify score from round 1. If he wants his score from round 3 to be eligible on the scoreboard, we need to see him streaming. Are we good? All right.
Plus,
we're
why
out.
wouldn't you want to show a 50K? Like, come
Yeah,
on,
You don't
we need-
want
we
to
need-
brag
yeah.
about a 50
Yeah,
bomb?
we
Like,
need
that
to
sounds
see
great.
it. All right. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
We're
Okay.
out, guys.
So,
400 USDT on the line for whoever can guess who's coming in third place. All right, we're out.
Ooh,
3. And it could be who.
money on the line. I like that.
It also could just be who's in third place now. It could be greedy for win if we don't expect Big Brain Poppy to exceed. But Big Brain hit 47K yesterday, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I think he hit somewhere in the 40s, like high 40s, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. Another player, though, that I do feel like we got to pay attention to, Kezia has yet to break that 40K barrier as well, and they've been a very prominent player throughout the 2 days we've already done this event. They got one last chance to break that 40K, and you and I were talking about this in between rounds. That might be necessary here. We thought initially that, you get 35K, yeah, you should be fine to make it a day 3. We're at 31K, and we still have a lot of players who are quote-unquote underperforming at this point. With half of our top 8 making it to day 2 right now, being over 40,000, it might come down to 40K is the only way you guarantee yourself a spot in day 3.
Yeah, that very much could be the final borderline between you making the big appearance in the main event, the grand finale of the Moshpit Tournament, and otherwise just being an onlooker in the Twitch chat, having to emote your way to glory. I mean, Catching Man, that is a content machine, and we want that content to turn into some points. Snake, I believe in you. It doesn't matter if you're in 16th place. You can do it, okay? Reptilians, they take a while to go from hibernation and get hot. Maybe round 3 is your day. I believe in you as a dark horse, but there's, like, if we look at that kind of middle 5 to 6, Adam G13, Xborg Flowy, El Stabilo, Wolverine, Micro B, those players right there are the ones that are going to be duking it out back and forth, and it's a 30K, 31K margin of difference. They have to be able to just jump their way up. Mid-30s, I think, is the minimum. 40K could also be there very soon.
I really do think so. At this point, the bar has been raised. We keep on talking about how every round we get further into this one, the requirements become harsher and harsher, and I feel like here in round 3, the requirement's going to be at its all-time harshest. So, gonna have to find out. We're just about ready to get into our third round, but not quite yet. Before we do, Hale, I gotta look for your predictions here. We got a top 16 that is relatively close, at least for our top 10. Who do you think is going to be that surprise player to sneak into the top 8? Because it feels like right now the top 8 we currently have, I don't think it's going to stay in that way. There's going to be 1 or 2 players who pop on in that nobody was expecting.
So, the no one expecting versus expecting. If we went with no one expecting, I would stick with my lottery pick of Snake because no one would no one would stay with me. But one person that kind of goes in and out and being of our focus, I think Worst Enemy. I think Worst Enemy has that ability to drive into that top of the stack, but it's just about staying alive. They've had a kind of a rough draw. They improved going into round number 2, which the majority of the field did. It's kind of interesting that we know that they were doing warm-ups and then they go into that first round. Some of them took risks, some of them stay safe, but round number 2 seemed to be where everyone was starting to catch up. I think worst enemy is going to find themselves in a 7 to 8 position. They're going to be biting their nails, and they're going to be shaking, but they're probably going to make it. I don't know. What about yourself? Is anyone else? Do we see DeBozy maybe make that jump? Maybe
that was who I was going to mention. It was going to be between him and Wolverine. Wolverine has been putting up solid scores pretty much every round, to the point where it feels like eventually, if they can have that pop-off round, let's say it's a bell curve, if you will. They're usually somewhere within this like middle range, but if they can get to this range, like to the very way to the edge, to where they're just barely going over what is their standard, I think they should be able to find themselves an appearance to day number 3. But similar, DeBozy, it feels like we counted them out yesterday, and then we had Danny and Johnny come on, and they were like, hey, guys, I don't necessarily think you're giving him enough credit. And lo and behold, round number 3 pops off and finds himself an appearance in day number 2. So both of those players, I think all 3 of the players we just mentioned are players to pay attention to, but I also would be remiss if I did not mention that Micro B has also been kind of gutted for the way that they have gone down in the first 2 rounds. They've been very close to having a pop-off game, but just haven't been able to get there. Kind of wondering what we're going to see out of them here in the 3rd round. That might be the difference maker for them between ending here in day 2 and finding an appearance in day 3.
The mobs literally took a rocket launcher to a bee fight. There was a little bit of an extra large can of Raid, and they smacked down that bee into a just smithereens. But you guys in the chat, tell us who is gonna make it. Be that top 3 position, because a lot of you put in those votes, but also who's just gonna make it to day number 3. Maybe you got a fan favorite, maybe you got someone that you think is gonna be able to win the entire thing. Do you believe that Daydream will hold the top of the official stack of points? Will Raze be able to join us into just flat out streaming it and showing that, yeah, they can already get to 50K. That argument was about the same thing of like, oh yeah, I did that, but it was at my dad's house like 3 states away, so I can't really do it again. You gotta show that you can do it the day of, because that's what competition is about. I have so much love for what Greedy for When was able to do with their community life jacket and surviving and doing so much. I want to talk to them tomorrow, and especially maybe into the winner's circle. I want to see all these players do so well, because of course they've been able to showcase all of their stuff for us today. I think that middle fight, especially in those final minutes, is going to be one hell of a ballroom brawl between these players, and I think it's going to be something amazing to witness. Moshpit has already showcased that it's an awesome game. It's a super fun game. I'm gonna be playing this after the stream, by the way. There's no way I'm not. Yeah. Muted, but I think you're muted. Was I muted? What happened?
I am muted. No, I don't know when that happened. I've got an interface at this point. My interface has been glitchy all day long. It is what it is. So let's just try this again. 3, 2, and 1. Let's get into the round and into the action here for our 3rd and final one. And not only will we get into the action, chat, I want to hear this from you guys here. If anyone's breaking that 50K barrier, who's it going to be? We've had a lot of predictions of who's going to be hit in the middle of the pack, but I want to know who you guys think. If anyone is going to do it today, who's going to be that player to get past that 50K mark? Or do you think no one's doing it today, and we got to wait until Championship Sunday to see that? Because that's what I want to know, is 50K. Will anybody be able to break it, or do we have to wait in anticipation until tomorrow?
An entire 24 hours before someone hits that magical moment. Maybe they'll even break 60K tomorrow. That'd be wild. That means they would have gone beyond wave number 20 and be able to prove themselves the top of the stack and that awesome mark that so many are trying to chase down. Again, Big Brain Poppy, one of the biggest brains, one of the best people that has been able to play this game. They had kind of a little bit of a soured round number 1, but looking good here in round number 2. Xborg Flowy, which when we last saw them in that number 6 position, they ended with about 31,000 points, which is around the minimum necessary to do well and make it into day number 3 of this Kaleidocraft Work Moshpit main event. And this has been another story. 2 big stories was the comeback kid of Greedy for Win and Xborg Flowy continuing to improve from playoffs to now.
It feels like they've just gotten better and better every time we see them. And again, you can see this here, just not really missing their shot. As soon as you come out the gate, you're basically getting sent to the graveyard over and over again. Xborg proving themselves to be a solid contender. But again, solid ain't enough. You need to be the best of the best if you want to try and make your way to day 3. And again, you can see this from Xborg, missing a couple of shots here and there. And those valuable bullets are going to be unfortunately missed. Again, it's a game of seconds at this point when everybody is so close. Even one single singular miss could be the difference between making that appearance in Championship Sunday and going home with only the prizes of today. Because again, everybody's taking home prizes. There's a guarantee no matter what that you're at least finding yourself some NFTs in your pocket, which is great. But when you've got over $6,000 to our top 3 players here, yeah, you want some of that USDT. And Big Brain Poppy wants to improve upon their last score already going through wave number 6, and they've completed it without a scratch. 16:40 to go, and they're already on wave 7.
That is 3.5 minutes. That is, I believe, about 30 seconds to 45 seconds faster than what they've been doing it on previous rounds. As we go to our separate quad, Snake is already at that mark as well. As they're on wave number 7. That's something neat to kind of keep track. We were talking about how wave 6, the boss round, 11,000 points. That's kind of that measuring stick. Snake is on par with Big Brain Poppy. That's huge, and that's the early rounds. That's the ones that are the quickest and quote unquote easiest to be able to work their way through. So let's see how much of that stays constant. Neo, who has been kind of in a weird position, is doing the same thing. Everyone on this side of the tracks, well, Catchy Man's trying to catch up. They are at the same amount of time, and they've got those points. They just finished wave number 6. So, all right, everyone's looking pretty much in a promising position right now at around 11K, getting wave number 6 in their back pocket, wave number 7 in front of them. So it's good to see now how that is a standard across the board for accomplishment in the horde mode work of this Moshpit game, and how everyone is still surviving.
And we're starting to see that this really goes to show you the difference between what was our initial player base in day number 1 versus day number 2. Day number 1, we had a lot of good players, and they were all very good, but even they were struggling, a couple of them, against that first boss, and to be able to make it past wave 7 confidently. Here in day 2, that is just the difference, the skill difference here, is that so many of these players have not only seen this boss enough times to be able to track it and know how to take it down within a second, but to also be able to just absolutely obliterate said boss. Speaking of obliteration, Rays trying to obliterate their last score. They are streaming this time. You can see them in the bottom right, and they're going to be probably the biggest player to pay attention to, because as much as Daydream would love to set that 50K barrier, Rays needs to have a good game here. Their last one being written off due to it not being streamed live. So now here in their 3rd and final round, they want to guarantee themselves a spot on Championship Sunday. I think they got to do that 40K barrier all over again.
Yeah, this is one of those players that they know how to be able to make it happen. Oh, worst enemy, though, will be seeing their day in short, their main event in short. There is not a life jacket to hang on to. Safe waters will no longer be for them as they fall into the riptide of momentum. Worst enemy falls with their final round at 13,000 points. They, at best, went 11th with 29,000 points. They made a good try, a good run, but this is the end of their competition. D-Bozy, another one of those mainstay players that we are expecting to have a stellar run, or at least try for one here in round number 3. They complete wave number 8. They're at 15,000 points. They're looking for some extra health, and it's about survival. This can't be your safest round, but it's got to be the one that you continue to live on and just get a nice amount of points per round with. You got to stay alive there, Daydream.
Oh, Daydream was at full health and almost went down to about a third of it again, and this is what we've seen from multiple players. Multiple players going down to those rocket launchers out of nowhere, and this is why it's valuable to stay at high health. Not necessarily because of the fact that, you know, staying at high health is obviously going to be better, but it's because if all of a sudden you just start getting drained to your health, it's good to have a little bit of extra buffer there in order to be able to play with. You see this a lot throughout this day as multiple players will drop into the mosh pit, seem confident for a second, but if they get overconfident and start to drain some of their health, all of a sudden, too many shots fired at them or a rocket launcher that explodes in their face, and they're heading home. El Stabilo, determined to not head home, though. They're sitting in a good position overall as it stands right now. They're in 7th place, just barely qualifying for day number 3. But again, when everyone's pulling out the stops here in our 3rd and final round, barely qualifying probably isn't enough. Again, that 40,000 barrier is really what guarantees you a spot in day number 3. So for El Stabilo, that's what they got to be hunting for. Daydream hunting to potentially beat their record. They're at almost 20,000, and there's still 14 minutes or so left for them.
Yeah, that's a lot of time. I mean, I know that these rounds get harder and harder as we go along, but to be nearly at half of your total top score and more or less than half of this total thing, it becomes a big measuring point as well. Adam G13 is taking a lot of damage. They're trying to be able to get at least a small healing pod. They do get to one, but you have to continue to rotate around that lower outer ring where the spawns are, looking for a quick kill. That's going to be a rad kid that hits the dirt and finds himself in a casket. 18,000 points for Rays, as they are in fact streaming framing their position of what they got to do. And catching man, I think, they're kind of on a pause. So Micro B, another one of those. Alex will fall, and Alex, that is the end of their competition. The best that they were able to get was 13th place with 20,000 points. They end with far less than that with 14K. So minute by minute as we go along in this third round, Bass, we're seeing the pressure really layer on and some of our lower players really finding their early exit out of this competition.
Yeah, we're starting to narrow this pool of players very quickly here. 14 players guaranteed to keep continuing, while 2 of them already sent home for a guarantee. Worst Enemy, as well as Alex, are not going to be able to compete in day number 3 due to just not being able to get enough score. But a couple of our players that are on the lower part of the leaderboard still in this one. Snake in our top left, one of those players that has been needing a big round. They have been quite literally at the bottom of the leaderboard this entire time. But if they can do well enough here in the third round, they might just be able to sneak into day number 3 and give themselves another chance. 21,000 for them, by far their best performance so far. The question is whether or not they can continue on with their winning ways. Big Brain Poppy is not going to be able to. They will settle for 40,000 and third place at maximum at this point. And oh boy, that's gotta hurt for Big Brain Poppy. I know it's not exactly a bad performance, 40,000, a great one at that, but he really wanted to finish off strong and show the competition that tomorrow he's gonna be the real deal. And with a performance like that to end it off, maybe a little bit of doubt in both his mind as well as the enemies. And speaking of doubt, Neorts, I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to continue. You do complete wave number 10, but multiple times now we have seen you on very low health. You can't be affording that, especially when bosses like this and Sugar Dad are coming up on wave number 12. Greedy for win, playing with not even a sliver. That is maybe a needle of health.
Oh man, Greedy for Win is trying to be able to get some extra health off of the second boss. That's Sugar Daddy, who has that triple rocket launcher in that conal spread. And they're running him down. I can't even see. They're being chased by bruisers. The melee is hunting them from behind. And they're just looking to escape, get to a healing pot. And they're doing it in distance as the rockets are flying at them. The big pot is in front of them. Oh, that's got to feel so much better. And as everything is ticking down, a lot of extra chip damage. They will complete wave number 12. And that is 26,000 points. Now, Greedy for Win, they're another one of those that are in a position for 40K. D-Bozy, another one bites the dust. 19,000 points. That was short of their best, as I think it was 21K that had them in 12th place. So the back of the pack is starting to get further and further away from this peloton of players that are still performing for some success. Daydream is the top of the entire mountain, holding on to it as best they can. 28K just midway through round 3.
That's what I was about to say. They might just be able to get past 30,000 before even the halfway point in this round. They're struggling a little bit here to be able to just keep track of all the enemies here in Wave 13, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to be able to. This might be the last one. Can they finish Wave 13 before that halfway mark? Where's the final enemy? He's looking around for it, probably stuck in one of the boxes, and I think he knows that. All he's got to do, finish off this last one. Not going to be able to do it before that 30 or before that halfway point, but only 5 seconds after, and they are 30,000 up. This is what we're talking about, is that players have been getting better and better the further we've gotten into this day. Daydream, definitely one of those players to watch. And also, let's watch on an Adam G13, a player who has done well throughout the day, but at 34,000 being their peak right now and going up against the second boss only halfway through, they might just be on track to be able to one-up themselves and really punch their ticket through to Championship Sunday.
Yeah, they're very close to getting about a 6,000 point boost, and that would put them around 26 to 27,000 in total through your first 12 rounds. And look, that barricade, shout out to that tiny little cement barricade absorbing a rocket launcher and not bending or breaking and providing a lot of cover and taking that last blast around the foot level. They will reload to be able to get their special rocket launcher ammo all replentilized, and that word is made up. Don't put it on an essay. Neo, who is still staying alive, this is another one of those to be able to keep track of. At 30K, that was their best mark. That was 10th place. That's not enough. All these players are about a step or so behind from actual qualification. Sub 8 minutes to go. They have about 3,000 points in front of them when it comes to wave number 13. They did get through the second boss, and they're trying to take this one at the helm as they're right next to those near side gates, bring down that outlaw flow, and they're doing it with some good style to them, as they're one of the few Project Gojira representatives as well that's been able to really make their mark on the leaderboard. But Daydream still leading the pack at 33K. Raze will fall. Raze does fall with this score. Gonna be seeing what that works with the devs. That's 29,000 points for this one. They didn't get their second round. they did set the pace with their first round. So we're going to be keeping track of that, as that is a live and evolving situation when we talk to Danny and Johnny later.
Yeah, that's one that you got to be surprised by. Ray's doing such a good job, being one of the best players we've seen throughout this tournament, but unfortunately for them, you got to play by the rules, and if you don't, there will be repercussions. So let's see how much of a repercussion it's going to be. Like we said, gonna tune in a little while here. Daydream, though, they're gonna keep on tuning in, as again, 33,000, and they are with 8 minutes remaining. Daydream determined to try and get past that 50,000 mark. I can kind of understand now. We were potentially gonna have an interview with him, but he's locked in. He's got other things he's got to focus on. He's got to focus on setting the record here and getting ready for what could be a day 3 where he walks away with that 4,000 USDT prize, as well as a handful of, more than a handful, I think it's 10 total NFTs to their name, and that custom gold helmet. Gotta say, Daydream, they've impressed us more and more. We've watched them play. Neort's trying to do the same thing, but with only a little bit of health left and getting dropped from the upper railing. They've got to be careful here. You cannot afford to make a mistake in the third round, especially when you're in Neort's position of not qualifying. They are barely on the edge in 10th place here, but with just about 30,000 to their name, they need more than that. Again, 35K, looking like qualification, 40K to guarantee it. Neort's still hunting for that qualification spot.
And we just got a little bit of a word. Remember, Rays, their first score was 36,000 points, so they're actually in that kind of flow where they may or may not be able to qualify, and so we'll be keeping track of that as that goes forward. Neo, Project Gojira, one of the few that's actually repping them, and they're looking to break into that 30K range. They had, I believe, is 30,000, and that had them at 10th position, around that 9-10 mark, and we got to see if they'll be able to keep with it. You guys keep your eyes glued to that leaderboard, because we're coming down to the last quarter of our final round today for day number 2. Daydream still trying to be able to break into that 50,000 point pot, and they're taking down as many of these guys as they can. It's about quickness, something that I got to see Neo do just a moment ago. They're playing with moon boost. They're trying to be able to continuously go up and down and get themselves from healing pot to healing pot on those spawn points, and being able to go vertical helps them out. El Stabilo with 34,000 points. They're in a good position, but they have to keep going upwards. I believe that they were number 5 at their best score margin, and that's what it is right now. So they could get themselves into the top 3. That gives yourself some good buffer room. The 31,000 point mark was the floor for qualification to day number 3, and now trying to be able to get wave 16 in front of them before the Chosen come out. They have to get rid of the hypers before the third boss wave comes, and Bass, I think that's where a lot of our contenders are going towards.
Yeah, we're really starting to see that that 18th wave is what we were expecting to be the upper echelon. Now it's starting to become closer to a requirement. Speaking of requirement here, Daydream does need to get some health if they want to keep on through here, and I think they just might be able to. A couple of AR shots in hand are going to be able to drill down some of their enemies, piecing them up very, very quickly. But can they make it through to the next wave? 17's just on the horizon. They need to get one last enemy down, and they will indeed. Gives them a second to refresh, grab some health, and get prepared as they're getting close to setting the record here. El Stabilo, close to setting their record as well, but they got to finish off this wave. As you can see in the top right, they're not going to get all that much even if they do make it through this round, so they need to make it quick enough that they even get any points whatsoever. 600 to go. There's a chance that El Stabilo may make it to the next round, but it may not make a difference. Meanwhile, my dark horse pick might just be exiting out early. They have 31,000 qualification right now, standing at just about the mark that Wolverine has, but you need to be careful. Barely qualifying is not the same thing as guaranteeing a spot. So for Wolverine, you cannot exit here in wave 16. You need to get to that third boss and stamp your mark if you want a chance at that third day of play and a chance at that crown on Sunday. Oh boy, it's getting more and more intense the further we get into this one, Hale. Every single player seemingly playing with just a thread of health.
Hey, barely qualifying is still qualifying. C's get degrees the same way that A's do too. So, hey, if your girlfriend is going to get a high score on her exams, it's the same thing as someone barely passing, and that's what some of these players are doing. Xborg Flowy, 32K. Gritty for Win, 32K. That 31K mark now no longer matters because 32K is going to be that measuring stick, and I think that Wolverine is trying to drive from that level. Oh, a lot of melee as Wolverine nearly gets cut down in their prime by a quick slash from that sword, but they will be able to get to another healing pot as they're dodging all the hypers. They're looking to be able to get downward into this. They don't use the downward dash. They get the mega healing pot, and that will keep them topped off for now. They're trying to be able to create some of the space, some distance between each of the mobs. Adam G13, again, they were in number 6 with 34,000. They're just short of that here in round number 3. It's safe, but it's not as safe as it could be. Less than 4 minutes to go. That mega healing pot is so pivotal on these rotations to keep these guys topped off as we're going towards latter rounds. Wave 16 and 17, that 16th wave, Bass, that is really that tiny little checkpoint before it. Hey, you get to the Chosen, you get to a boss fight, and maybe you get to that 40k mark.
It's starting to see like that's the slow down round. That's where we start to see players, take a little bit of a halt. Before that, they're cruising pretty easily. But when wave 16 comes around, that's where it gets kind of difficult. And I think it's due to just the sheer number of enemies that are overwhelming you. Before that, you got a couple enemies chasing after you. It's not too bad. But once you start to get to the point where everybody's taking shots from a decent distance and they're all, no matter what angle you have, overwhelming you, you got to be careful. Speaking of be careful here, El Stabilo in a great position, 36,000, the mark that they have now made. But can they get further than that and maybe join our 40k club? They're struggling to survive right now against the third boss here, but a big pot of health is going to help them out, and they might even just be able to get the second one as well. Back to almost full health, and with the enemy, the boss, being at less than half, they just need to finish them off. LMG in hand, full refresh here, might just be able to pop down that final boss and move on here. Adam G trying to do the exact same thing. So many players at this point showing that 30,000 mark we thought was going to be the safety net before, not at all the safety net. 35k looking like the number you need to beat if you even want a chance. And Greedy for a win will barely get there and be ended off at 35,260. Greedy looking like they will make an appearance in day number 3 due to that 42,000 from the previous round. But even a solid performance to finish this one off, even if it doesn't, necessarily break records.
Oh yeah, this one's coming down to the wire. We have got all of a few minutes remaining. Greedy for a win. They had 42k, looked pretty good into that second round, and they were able to make that jump. Export Flowy, they're trying to be able to jump. They've got this third boss wave in front of them. If they were to end this here in just maybe another few seconds, they're going to put a splash of damage downfield, and they've got the LMG to do it. They've actually closed that range. Remember, this boss wave includes this one boss and 2 mini bosses, which encompasses the previous first and second bosses, and now as his minions. Jumps around, looking for that 40,000 mark. Less than a minute to go. Daydream, 49,000. If they complete wave 20, they'll have officially made 50k their mark on the entirety of this competition. They've got a lot of heavies in front of them on this prototype range as they're trying to be able to get them down. That is the LMG that's doing big work on their HP bars, but I wonder if they're going to be able to get it. They struggled to get through wave number 20. Export Floyd, 36,000 points. This may be enough to be able to take down some big contenders. El Stabilo, they get to 43,000. They're good to go. They have second place. We're going to go out of this one, and we're going to focus on who is still alive, who's contending. Export Flowy will go to 36,000. I'm not sure where that currently sits. We're a top 10, but it's wild. Daydream, they get 52k! With less than 15 seconds to go, they hit over 50,000.
Yesterday, we set the record with over 40, I think it was 48,000. Before that, in qualifying, it was 41,000. That was the record. We get 48K yesterday, and we get 52 today. The competition continuing to elevate, and Daydream elevating all the way into that first place position. We have got our front runner for day number 3. It is going to be none other than Daydream. And hey, listen, we interviewed him day number 1, and he said his ambitions were high. He said he was going to win this entire thing. Now, I'm starting to believe him. 52,000, absolutely unheard of. We were seeing how many players were going to make it into the 40K club. How about the 50K club? The answer, 1.
Yeah. Daydream showing that their efforts weren't just a dream, it is a reality. And I did not expect them to be making this run, at least to this level this early, based purely on seeing both Raze as well as Big Brain Poppy being that top of the stack. But Kings will be dethroned, and in day number 2, Daydream is able to take that throne and turn it into something they love. It could be a bar stool, it could be a nice drink in hand, and it's of course them look upon everyone else saying, hey, welcome, I am now the peak, what you must be able to reach. But look at this, Raze did get qualified, they get their 48,000, El Stabilo with 43, Greedy with 42, the top 5 all had 40 plus, and someone I didn't expect to be at the end of that is Big Brain Poppy. But Bass, look who was able to do it just over that line. Oh, and look who fell just short.
I knew that Wolverine would be able to step it up a little bit, but the unfortunate issue is that we said the step up should be to at least, like, I don't know, 33,000 is where we were starting to see. It ended up being the 35K that you and I were wondering if it would be there, but indeed, our top 8, all over 35,000. Fun fact, you get 35,000 in the first day, and I think you're in, like, our top 5. Like, that's the difference here at this point, is that they're stepping up. Every single player is getting better and better at this point. And, well, we're not the only people who probably are impressed by this. Let's bring back in Danny and Johnny and talk to them about this. Break down the final action of the day as we get prepared to send off day 2 and get into day number 3.
Danny, Johnny, what we got? End of round number 3, end of day 2. Guys, bring it back in. Bring that energy. That was a wild end of the day. You guys had been having a great time there on the couch. Oh my goodness. There is not a time we see these guys and they're not dancing. Oh my god.
Dude. What the hell? You have no idea how we were rushing to figure out Ray's score. Because we knew this was going to be like this crazy thing, right? We need to have this done so we were able to get in that final score. That was one sick round.
That
With
was
some
insane.
surprises.
That was insane. Daydream 50K for reals, dude.
You should have
He
seen
destroyed it.
Johnny's baldness was just glowing. Why don't you show us how you get when you get like Hell Monkey? Show us when you go like full. Just show us that.
Full chimichanga.
Oh, this is Daydream.
That was Johnny's. That was yeah, we were all on the edge of our seats.
We were surprised. Greedy for Win was saved by the community life jacket, and now he's at number 4, número 4. Amazing. That's just crazy.
Yeah,
It was
good.
intense.
That was intense.
Yeah.
You guys killed it yet again. We were getting a lot of love in the chat for you both. So yeah, you guys killed it once more. Hell Monkey, Bass, thank you so much. Huge round of applause for you guys. You guys killed it yet again. Thank you so much. See you guys tomorrow for the final day. Who will win?
Hey,
Who will take the bag home? We'll see you guys tomorrow. All right,
Stay
guys.
saucy, friends. Talk
Thank
soon.
you,
Thank
Bass.
you.
Hell Monkey. All right. Juanito. That was pretty intense.
That was sort of loco.
Did you feel that in your body?
The vibes.
Did you feel that in your body?
Las vibras estaban fuera de control. Guys, a lot of what happened today, the intensity, the feeling, the crunch, the emotion is thanks to our players and also thanks to the team. We have this team that's killing it behind the scenes.
I think chat, hold on. Before we get crazy, should we tell the chat to shout out their favorite players of the day? I think those players, they're the ones who brought the goods today. They came to compete. They came to put it all on the line. Huge shout out to everyone who participated. The top 15, you guys freaking killed it. You guys, the guys who didn't make it to the last round, you guys went out on your shield like freaking warriors. Guys, shout out, give some love to everyone who participated today. They came to get it. Some of them came in their spa gear, but everybody came in with everything. All right, Juanito. So what's next now? Sorry, I just want.
We have a surprise for you all. Coming after the pause.
So hold on. What's going on now? Do we know? Did anybody win those 400 USDT? Do we know that? Christu, did anybody win? Did anybody get it right? We're going to find out after our pause. All right, guys, we're going to a little pause. DJ, are you ready? Is our DJ ready? All right, first synth is ready. He's going to take us to the pause. Wrap it up, boys. We're going to get a little bit of water because that was intense. Felt it in my body. Bodies. What's going on here? Luigi.
Hello, how are you?
Welcome to the show, Luigi. Why have you been here in the show this whole time?
Yeah,
What have you been doing during this show?
I've been watching the matches and figuring out how you guys do to go that up high into the score. And first of all, I think congratulations to the winners, to the finalists, and thank you to all of you for playing and having a great time. I'm feeling so happy of
That was
seeing
good, huh?
all that.
Well, for I didn't actually present you. So Luigi here is our lead material artist in the studio. He's the guy who supervises everything that looks shiny, the textures, everything in the mosh pit, the characters. He's been supervising all of this from day one. But aside from that, Mr. Luis Maria Dumont also has a side hobby.
I like to play. I like to play games, but I like to design games also. I'm starting to doing this, and I have an opportunity in the mosh pit to give some ideas.
What was it? It was like 2 months ago. You
Yeah,
started
like-
taking an active role.
Yeah, 2 months ago I jumped into the mosh pit. I've been seeing the project from behind, but I had the opportunity to jump into the project and throw some ideas, and with all the team, I think I'm very happy with the result.
Yeah.
That we are having today.
So for all of you, Luigi has been the one designing the waves. So I think it was like a couple months ago. You started jumping in and giving a hand with the design part of the game, and you really started bringing a lot. To the table, which was super cool. You started tweaking stuff. You would play. You'd be like, "Oh, I just tried this thing." It was really exciting for all of us to see. And then we were like, "All right, go at it." And you completely just took the game by storm. And basically, you designed every single one of the waves. So from what the players have been showing you, what surprised you the most?
The strategies. One of the first goals of designing all the waves and all the enemies is trying to push you to adaptate to and change your playstyle. Also, adding different guns so you can express yourself and play the way you like it. I was surprised of like everything, like from the start. For instance, like. Standing in the middle of the pit and just shooting everyone out, and then in the higher waves starting to use the cover, use the upper ring to keep distance, farming the fanatics, farming the fanatics in the can. I don't know, a lot of strategies that came up and surprised me.
Yeah, there was like some happy surprises.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you did
so-
not see coming.
Yeah.
You were also telling me the way they were using the machine gun.
Yeah, the machine gun and all the guns. You end up using all the guns in different opportunities, and I'm happy to see that, because one of the goals is that you can choose, and there is not unbalanced like builds going on, something like this. So
And-
seeing different play styles also likes me.
Somebody's asking if the players can play after hours to practice. It is getting out of control. So Luigi,
They have to, I think.
I think everyone's excited to find out who the winners are today as well. But before we wrap up, I've got another segment, the future.
The future of the future.
Where do you see the mosh pit going? What are like some of the things that you're excited to get in there? We're gonna have some heated debates probably over the next couple of weeks of where things are going. It's gonna be a lot of fun to sit down, have
Wait.
some beers, drink some mate,
Yeah.
and try to figure out where this whole thing is going. But if you had to just pick out a couple things that you're excited about for the future of the mosh pit, what would it be? Especially now that you see people actually playing the game.
Yeah, we already started making the brainstorm with Theo and with Gus. A lot of ideas coming up, but the first thing, I think more enemies with more different approaches, more guns, also different playstyles, and right up start making more arenas that would be awesome with different mechanics and also different aesthetics. I don't know, a lot of things. But well, I don't know how to start. What do you want to see in the Moshpit?
I want to find some way. I'm really excited, and I'm not really sure how it would work in a competitive kind of environment, but for viewers to be able to interact with the players through Twitch. I think Twitch integration can be super fun, where viewing is an active experience, right?
Yeah.
Where you can actually get in there. We're not really sure how this could possibly work, but I'm super excited about that. And also I've got a little, I don't know if I mentioned this, but we were talking with a gaming platform, and they heard about the tournament and they're super excited to do something with us. We're going to be on a call with them on Tuesday, so we might have another segment of the tournament.
I will
soon.
love to see that. I think what is happening here is the first steps in that direction, that having a community interacting in the games, and finding a way to make more intertwined. I think would be one of the hardest challenges and the most exciting also.
Somebody in the chat, before we leave, somebody in the chat said, what is the ultimate wave? How many waves do you have designed so far in there? I don't even know if it would be even physically possible with the amount of time you have.
I think you have to figure out. I've seen you reaching up to 20, if I'm alright, but you have to figure it out how much waves are designed. After the tournament, maybe I can tell.
Monkey Man says, check out Clone Drone and Danger Zone. Danger Zone! Collider doing a AAA version of that into the mosh pit would be these nuts.
Oh,
and we're all about these nuts in the mosh pit. We're all about AAA, and we're all about learning from the best. Luigi, any parting words?
I'm just so thankful for you guys playing, having a great time, supporting us as a community, all the sponsors and all the team. I'm very, very, very proud of the team, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to jump into something I'm loving to do.
Yeah, it's beautiful to finally be able to see this in people's hands. Guys, you have no idea how much we appreciate each one of you guys grinding in the mosh pit, playing your heart out, and then everybody out there in the chat, in the community, supporting all the communities, the people who actually made this possible by sponsoring this. You guys have no idea. You're making a dream come true, and we thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
All right, so thank you, man.
I'm leaving. I'm so hungry.
Oh, you're gonna go. Okay, save me some food. Don't eat all of it. All right, is Juanito coming back in now? All right, guys, a round of applause for Luigi Dumont. Yeah, baby. Yeah. These guys freaking killed it. Oh, giving a little bit of shine to our Juanito. Juanito, are you ready to let people know what's good? We have
what's poppin'?
Those saucy prizes. Them saucy prizes.
Esos premios salseros.
All right.
All right, guys.
All right, so the challengers. Who did we already do the community life jacket? No, we haven't done that. Oh, the community life jacket was only for day one. Oh man, that would have been fun. All right, so no community life jacket. So what's now? We're gonna go. Oh, who is left?
Day 2.
All right, guys. Round of applause.
Bravo.
For all the warriors. For
Bravo,
those who went
guys.
out on their shield. For the fallen.
Bravo.
For the guys who are in it to win it and are still here with us. It was no freaking joke. El
Shout out,
Stabilo,
guys.
Daydream. Who else? Raze. We didn't know what the hell was going on with Raze. I was kind of nervous. I was like, we need to make sure we have this thing figured out. Big Brain Poppy. Who else, Juanito?
Shout out to all of you guys who made it to round 3. Day 3 is going to be wild. And a shout out to everyone who gave it their all today, who didn't make it, but went down as a warrior, giving it todo.
Seki's saying it's going to be lit tomorrow. You better believe it. You better
Yes.
believe it.
All right.
So,
amazing. What else? We also had people in the chat.
Somebody's asking for a jacket.
Jacket.
I don't know, man. Are we like from a technical standpoint, Tommy? Is it even possible to do a life jacket? No. No fucking way, he said. Oh, give me a jacket. Oh my God, DeBozy. People are asking for DeBozy's jacket. All right, guys, from a technical standpoint, right now this is not possible. We will reconvene. We will see what's going to happen. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe. I got it. Maybe we can start off the stream tomorrow with a life jacket. Or is that too crazy? Because then we'd have to figure it out. That would be nuts, no? I don't know. I'm just rolling with the punches here. Who knows?
Maybe.
Okay, so okay, this is the thing, guys. This is the thing. What production is saying, our amazing tech team back there, they're gonna do it. They just need 5 minutes and they're gonna put a jacket tomorrow. But everybody in the chat needs to say, we love you, Tomaceto. Tomaceto. You guys have to type Tomaceto, 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 Tomaceto. If you guys really believe in the community life jacket, if you guys believe that community life jacket should happen, it wasn't in the plans, but we roll with the punches, Juanito.
We love
Johnny.
you, Tomaceto. All right.
Johnny, we're all about being adaptable.
We can do it.
Lean and mean.
Fighting machine.
We've got to be lean and mean if we plan on surviving on this online universe that is taking form before us, the metaverse. Who knows what this all Web3 thing? You need to be adaptable. That is the one thing we've learned this year, right, Juanito?
Yes, sirree.
All right, Johnny. So what's now? Do we have the winners, right? That was a huge prize for that last round. Who thinks they won that last prize? Does anybody know who won those 400 USDT? Because that is one serious prize. Does anybody know?
We might just have to bring up a list of winners.
All right. Do we have that list ready? I think Tomaceto. Oh my God, he's doing everything. He's actually creating the community.
Dale.
Yeah.
Audience winners, guys.
Take it
the
away,
USDT
Johnny.
we had for you, who've been backing us up in the audience, who've been vibing in the chat, who've been giving it your todo, bringing the fuego, bringing the picante, bringing the corazón, bringing the soul
love.
and the sauce. NFT family won 200 USDT. Twin Sisters NFT. Shout out to Twins.
Whoa.
You're there day in, day out on Twitter, on Discord, always backing us up. It makes us extremely happy to see you walk away with these 400 USDT that are more than well deserved. Noxie goes away with 50. Gen 1 with 50. Rami, you've been on a winning streak. 50 for you once again,
Yes,
dude.
sir.
You're a lucky man. Wish us the best for the semifinals. Give us your good vibes to Argentina for the semifinals. We need it. Booze Dome with 50, Djax with another 50, and Army Artie with 50. And these are today's winners for the audience USDT prizes.
People
Amazing.
are also showing,
Amazing.
Let's go. So, all right, let's hear some of those. You guys, and I've got something. I've seen Christu saying here, Twin Sister NFT is always in the chat on Discord, right?
She's like that.
Yeah.
She's been with us like since forever. And
right.
It's great to see these kind of rewards going to
the
people
right
who've been
hands.
supporting us for a very long time and always backing us up and bringing in the vibes.
Because sometimes some fools get the win, but sometimes the good people get the win too. That's always nice. All right, guys, enough monkeying around. You guys asked for it. Type 1 if you guys think the community life jacket was able to happen in less than 5 minutes, because that would be crazy. Tomaceto's doing everything. All right, do you guys believe this is happening? Do you guys know who you would give the community life jacket to? Are you guys ready? Christu's ready. All right. We actually put a timer on the life jacket so it doesn't go out of control. But we put this life jacket. What is the time? What is the time frame for the life jacket? What is a 3 minutes? All right, so there's a 3-minute timer for the community life jacket. Are you guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Get it in the chat. You guys get it in the chat. Community life jacket. I wonder if we're gonna be able to see this live. Remember last time we were seeing it live and it was crazy? There was like this pie. It was the coolest pie I'd ever seen in my life. I was so excited.
Dynamic.
I'm gonna tell you something. I felt like a clown because when I saw it, I actually thought Colors had won.
Well, he was close to winning. He was
And then I was
actually
all
on the
excited. I
top
was like,
for a
"Oh, I
moment.
called it," and no, it was
The pie rugged you.
that boomer energy. I don't really understand how a lot of this technology works. It's all kind of a mystery to me.
But it comes together in the end.
It comes together. Our production team is amazing. There you
we
guys
go.
see it live. This is amazing. Our tech team is just out of control.
Go.
Production is out of control. Lo Debozi is getting the love from the community. He's just feeling the love. Those kisses, those juicy kisses
Come on, guys.
all over Debozi's face.
Let's support these warriors. One of them
All
is
of
going to
these
bet
warriors, all
the
of these
community
guys,
life
any
jacket.
one of
Now's their
them.
chance. Go and vote them.
But-
Shill this poll. Let's give them a second chance.
Yeah, you guys, as in the famous words of Hell Monkey, just do whatever it takes. Borrow a phone. Do whatever it takes. Jump on your grandmother's laptop. Jump on
those
your little
Blackberries.
brother's,
Get those
BlackBerry.
Nokia 1100s.
Yes, and do it. All right, guys. Again, just a huge pleasure today. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. The stream was a lot better from a technical standpoint. We didn't have any glitches. Things were looking really smooth, right?
Yeah.
It was a huge improvement from yesterday. Actually, I don't know if you guys know, but yesterday we were in the middle of a storm. There was trees all over the streets. There was dead people. When I was going back home last night, we almost ran over some dead people, broken trees. It was insane. There was a massive storm, and it actually felt like the world was coming down upon us. We could hardly even hear each other talking because of all the rain. So it was really intense yesterday, but today we dialed things in. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. The tech team definitely getting
They
their
killed
shit
it.
together
They killed it.
finally. I mean, no. I didn't say that. I didn't
Actually,
say
today
that.
we actually got a lot of feedback yesterday from you guys, and this morning we had this an hour and a half long meeting going through everything we could possibly do to make this second day tighter, to work better, and we were able to improve the experience quite a lot.
Yeah, as
So,
we always say around here, we're not perfect, but we try to be better every day. Just a little better
sí,
every
señor.
day.
Sí, señor.
We'll definitely, that's something you can always count on. You can always count on us doing our best. Sometimes we fall short of the mark, but we're always trying. We're always pushing. And as you guys can see, I hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm actually
100%.
super proud of the team. I'm super proud of what we're putting together with the little experience we have. This first game experience, the community, the prizes, all of it just coming together. We have 1 minute and 30 seconds. Is there anything else to cover while we're waiting?
Why don't we say thank you to all of our partners while we wait? We've got 60 seconds to
Let's
them
shout out those partners.
Guys, we have the privilege of teaming up with an amazing group of partners. We've got Journey, we've got Neo Tokyo. Chat, you guys know who our partners are,
You
so
know
shout
what's
them
up.
out, give them love. They
Give
haven't
them
only
love.
been with this Moshpit Tournament backing us up, but they've also jumped in the pit. They've gotten their hands dirty. They came to run and gun. They brought their best gunslingers into this show.
They brought some.
They brought some
mean
support.
motherfuckers. Some of the fastest guns in Web3. They brought
That's
them to the
right.
pit.
That's right.
And so we have TTTO, which are
TTO, Diegenheim, NFA, Byte, Affinity Collective, Journey, Neo Tokyo, Project Gojira, CyberKongs, AlphaBot, Crypto Walkers. Who else do we have, Tomasetto? Continent, and
we already said Diegenheim.
We already said
but
Diegenheim.
We can Diegenheim them again. Shout out to Diegenheim. Super cool people out there. Bunch of crazy, fun-loving Degens.
and Go Art, amigos.
All right, guys. So it doesn't seem like
8,
much of
7,
surprise
6,
here.
5,
5, 4, 3, 2, 1,
Go!
T-Rosie takes the community life jacket. He has a second chance. He has a second go of it. We all wish sometimes we had a second chance. And today is Debozi's day to get a second chance. To show him what he's made out of. To show that it's not over. When all hope seems to be lost. The DJ is getting a little bit out of control. But sometimes in the darkest moment, Juanito, there's a life jacket. Sometimes life gives you a second chance. Sometimes your friends give you a second chance. And in this opportunity, the tech team gave a second chance. The community gave a second chance. Destiny gave Debozy a second chance! A second chance for Debozy! And here we are, guys. Tomorrow is going to be a day of myth. Will be a day of legend in the annals of history for Web3, for the Degens, for everybody out there who loves the running gun. It will be the end. This tournament will come to a close, and we will have a massive world of fun, and we will collide together in the pit. We're going to take it, and we're going to bring it, and we're going to have a world of fun. Juanito, anything else to say?
Amigos,
What else to say?
this has been a night to remember. Oh, we're doing the Saiyajin move. The Moshpit Tournament is over for today. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, free.
Peace out.
Have a
Much
good
love.
one. We
Talk
love
soon.
you.
Take care. Hasta la vista.